The NFL on CBS. Today's game is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer, who invite you to see and test drive the all-new LTD and Mustang. Light beer, everything you always wanted in a beer and less. And by Firestone, makers of the new steel-belted Radio 721. Ask a friend about Firestone.
From Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, CBS Sports presents the Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with George Allen and Jim Brown. And, Coach, what are your thoughts going into this ballgame?
Well, Vinny, this is a big game for the Vikings. They're still 2 behind the Packers. Packers are playing good, and Detroit has improved. Tarkington can throw against any defense. He has to get that running game going. I'd like to see what he can do against the Lions defense running the football.
Well, when you talk about Minnesota running, you immediately go to Jim Brown's department and you zero in on Chuck Foreman. And the first question, Jim, is how is Foreman physically?
Well, I talked to Chuck Foreman last night, and he is feeling fine. He's about 90% efficient. He's ready to go. He combines tremendous talent. He has great team value. He's a great runner, but you should never think of him as just a runner. You should think of him as a combination back, tremendous offensive force. Now, I'd like to ask you something, George, as a coach. What did you think of Chuck Foreman?
Jim, when we defensed the Vikings, we defensed Foreman first, running, passing, blocking. We followed him all the time.
Well, that's a very wise situation. Your Earl Campbell loves him also. Now we go to Vin Scully for the kickoff.
Okay, fellas, and Rick Danmeyer of Minnesota ready to kick off from the 35. You have Terry and Jesse Thompson deep standing on the Detroit 5-yard line, and the ball game ready to get underway. It'll be handed by Terry, wearing his old college number, 47, for the first time in the pros. He's out to the 25, still on his feet, and dragged down at the 28-yard line. And the first man to hit him was Fred McNeil. Let's take a look at Detroit offensively. Carl Balderschweiler, the rookie, will be in there at tackle, along with Homer Elias, Larry Terry, Lynn Bodine, and Brad Oates. The wide receivers, Luther Blue, number 89, Fred Scott, 87, the tight end, number 81, David Hill. At the wheel, Gary Danielson, his running backs, Dexter Bussey and Horace King. So it'll be 1st and 10. The ball on the Detroit 28, just the start of things. Slot left. Blue is inside Scott. Dexter Bussey is banged behind the line of scrimmage. Carl Eller made the tackle immediately. So the first running play comes to a halt as Eller is there to hammer him. The weather, the temperature 53 degrees, humidity 37%, and the wind 17 miles an hour. The Minnesota defensive line, Eller, Sutherland, White, and Marshall. The linebackers, Blair, Seaman, and McNeil. At the corners, Wright and Bryant, safeties, Wise and Hannon. Go to 2nd and 11 from the 27, and Danielson gonna put it up. And he'll release to Horace King at the 25, and King gets about the 30, so a pickup of 1 from the original line of scrimmage, but it'll be 3rd down and a long 9 to go as Matt Blair wrapped him up. 3rd and 9 for Detroit as they try to get something going. Now Jesse Thompson comes out. There'll be alternating ends or wide receivers bringing in the plays. Freddie Scott goes wide right, Luther Blue left, and the tight end Hill is on the left side. The running backs remain King and Bussey. Oh, Horace King running into a gang, picked up about a yard. James White made the initial hit. And so it'll be 4th and 8, and Detroit will have to give up the ball after 3 downs. Fruitlessly, they picked up about 4 yards all to go, so it's now a 4th and 5. Coming in to kick will be Tom Skladany, the rookie out of Ohio State, averaging 42.9, and going back is Kevin Miller. He'll be standing on the Minnesota 30-yard line. Skladany has kicked 14 inside the 20. His longest of the year, 63 yards, and he has had 1 block. Skladany from his 20. Kevin Miller playing it on a bounce, and Miller will pick it up at the 20, and Nat Terry brings him down immediately. So number 47, Nat Terry, playing both ways, quick to get down there and hammer him. And now Minnesota will put it in play. 1st and 10. on their own 19-yard line. The early going, 12:58 in the first quarter. Detroit nothing, Minnesota nothing.
I'm John Kelly, a tire engineer, and this is the Firestone 721 radio, a tire we have so much confidence in, we're backing every 721 sold for the rest of this year with this guarantee. If a Firestone 721 becomes unserviceable within 2 years because of defects in workmanship or materials, we'll replace it free. Only road hazard and in-service abuse are excluded. The Firestone 721, we're so confident we guarantee them for 2 full years.
Introducing a new American road car. The all-new Ford LTD for $79, with more front seat room, more rear seat room, more window area, and more handling ease than last year's LTD. Plus the power of a V8 engine standard. A road car to take you across town or across the country.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
To test drive the all-new LTD on your own roads, see your Ford dealer today.
Minnesota ready to put the ball in play. 1st and 10 on the Viking 19-yard line. Bob Tucker is wide right with Young in a slot inside Ahmad Rashad. And the running backs were Sammy White and Chuck Foreman. Tarkin in the air on the first play, and it's complete to Sammy White coming out of the backfield. He's dropped to the 25-yard line, and they picked up 6 yards on the play.
Well, here's an end zone shot of Tarkin throwing on the first play. Nobody reads coverages or throws to the backs, the short passing game, better than Tarkenton. Right away, he's on offense. I like that type of football. He's so difficult to defense with his short passing game.
You know, Tarkington last week completed 18 passes against the Cowboys. Only 3 of them were for more than 10 yards. Chuck Foreman trying to cut inside, and he pays the price, and he's dropped at the 25. I wonder if he can get outside, Jim.
Oh, yes, Chuck really has the speed. He has to only realize that he has that great breakaway speed. He's got a little trouble with his knee right now, but believe me, Vinny, he can get outside.
3rd and 4, the ball on the Viking 25-yard line. No score with 11:53 in the first quarter. Ricky Young in a slot left inside Rashad. Tucker is wide right. Sammy White in the backfield with Chuck Foreman. Under some heat now by Al Baker. Tarkin unloads, and there's Young all alone. And he was dropped at the 35. A remarkable recovery. Francis Tarkenton at it again.
This is all Tarkenton. He took a broken play, turned it into a first down. He still has the nimbleness, the quick feet. See him turn and get out of it. Throw on the run, find the open receiver. First down.
An interesting thing about that, Coach, is that it's all talking, but his receivers are intelligent enough to know that what he's going to do and to be always looking for that ball.
Yeah, they're aware of where he is and trying to get open.
1st and 10 on the Viking 38. Young again in a slot left inside Rashad. Sammy White in motion to the right. Tarkin and rolling right. Foreman a stand-up block for him. And now Tark goes over the middle. Intended for Ahmad Rashad, and Luther Bradley was there to break it up. By the way, for Tarkington, he comes in here with a completion percentage of 61% to lead the NFL. And it's also the 5th time in the last 6 years that he has been above the 60% completion mark.
Well, there's definitely a reason for that, Vinny. As you said earlier, George, he throws those short passes better than anybody in football. So that completion record isn't always indicative of efficiency.
And you know what he's done? He's given the Detroit defense a different look every down. Every down has been a different formation. Now here's another one.
2nd and 10 on the Viking 38. Now you have Foreman as a wide receiver. Young comes back into the backfield, and a bobble by Tarkenton. He wanted to flip out to Foreman, and he just dropped the ball. And then Baker dropped on him on the 30-yard line.
This is some ground level. Now, Tarkenton has a little play action there. It seems to be a screen of some type. The ball slipped out of his hand, but he makes a very wise move. He doesn't try to pick the ball up. He just covers it. Very intelligent play.
For the Vikings now, they have a 3rd and 17 on their own 31-yard line. The Vikings, by the way, certainly have great ball control this year. They rank 3rd in the NFL behind New England and the Los Angeles Rams. 3rd and 17 from the 31. Rashad is wide left, Sammy White wide right. Foreman the only running back. Parkinen running, looking to Foreman out in front of him, then throws to Sammy White, and that'll be enough for the first down. Mike Burns there to knock him out of bounds at the Detroit 49-yard line.
Now here's Tarkenton sprinting out, 3rd and 17, reading the defense all the way. He's got the short man open. He doesn't throw to him. He takes the first down. Beautiful execution.
So on a 3rd and 17, Francis picks up the first down. The Vikings are the second best 3rd down offense in the NFC. Only Dallas has done a little bit better. 1st and 10 on the Detroit 48. Tarkenton very much in command. Sammy White right, Ahmad Rashad left. Young and Foreman the running backs, and here comes Chuck Foreman. Grabbed from behind and dragged down by O'Neill, and then Newmoff came over to make sure he went down.
Jim, this is what we talked about. We want to see, there's no question that Tarkenton can throw the ball against any defense. We want to see if the Vikings can get that running game going.
Yes. Also, we got to remember that last week Foreman had a great game against Dallas. So you're absolutely right. If they can establish the ground game with Tarkenton's passing, they're going to be awesome.
No question.
2nd and 9, the ball on the Detroit 47-yard line. Tarkenton started this on the Minnesota 19. Moved it to the Detroit 47. Tarkenton on an inside handoff to Rick Young, and he's across the 40 and dropped to the 37-yard line. That should be a first down for Minnesota, and it is.
Now, this is what we call good blocking. Hole opens up, it's a trap. Ricky Young, very good addition to this team, makes a great move there, gets low, moves ahead. Real good play, but the emphasis there is on the blocking.
The Vikings picking up chunks. They were successful on a 3rd and 17. They have just picked up a first down on a 2nd and 9, and they have it now 1st and 10 on the Detroit 37. Rashad wide left, and Sammy White goes in the slot. Chuck Foreman is hit behind the line of scrimmage, and coming through to get him is Dave Purfoy out of Michigan, a 7-year veteran. Purfoy right there to hammer him.
He didn't have a chance on that one, Jim. He just slashed, Purfoy just slashed down, and no one blocked him.
Exactly right, but Foreman seemed a little tentative there. That might be one of the new plays that the Vikings have been putting in. You know, they're now using different innovations, Coach. And, you know, the main thing about different innovations is that everybody do not learn them very well.
A loss of 4 to make it 2nd and 14 on the Lion 41-yard line. Tarkenton spun around and dropped. Doug English was right there to hammer him at the 45-yard line. Bud Grant, hands stuffed in his pocket, a rather familiar pose, although for Tarkenton that was not a familiar picture, as Doug English, a 4-year man out of Texas, tied him up.
Yeah, here's a shot of both benches on the same side. I think this may be the only ballpark left where you have both teams on the same side of the field. Sometimes it can cause a problem when players get too close together.
So Monty Clark watching his young Lions stepping with the Vikings. 3rd and 18 from the 45. So Tarkenton has to come up with another big 3rd down play. He succeeded 3rd and 17. We'll see about this time. And he's going to flip to Foreman, who drops it. And that's a rather important pass for Foreman, because the first pass reception Chuck makes today will make him the all-time Minnesota leader. He enters the game tied with Bill Brown. And there was number 285, but he dropped it.
You know what Tarkenton did that time? He sprinted out to his left. The last 3rd and long, Jim, he sprinted out to his right. So he's keeping that defense off balance.
Now we'll take a look at Greg Coleman, a 2-year man out of Florida A&M, recently cut by Cleveland, and Minnesota picked him up right away. Jesse Thompson is standing on his 10, and Luther Blue is up in front of him. And we'll see now about the punt. It's angled down the right sideline, hits at the 13, and goes out of bounds at the 3-yard line of Detroit.
Great
and
punt.
that's the 4th time out of 14 punts that Coleman has kicked it inside the 20. Take another look.
Coach, you mentioned this before the game, that this guy could really kick that ball out on the 1- and 2-yard line.
Jim, with the new rules, it's important.
ready to the light beer battle of the big guys. And there they are, two teams locked in mortal combat to decide the eternal argument over light beer from Miller. On one side, the big guys who think the best thing about light is it tastes great.
Yeah, it tastes great. Tastes great.
On the other side, the big guys who think the best thing about light is it has a third less calories than their regular beer. It's less filling.
Less filling. Less filling.
I feel strongly both ways.
I tell you, this is really no respect. Blue is the violet and red is the rose. You don't pull them or break your nose.
The tension here is almost unbearable.
Oh, you guys.
They can't go on much longer. Something big has got to happen soon. Holy cow, look at that.
Hi, Mickey.
Hi, dolls.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I still don't know why they asked me to do this commercial.
This Sunday on Kaz.
There's been an inmate takeover at your old prison. The prisoners have asked for you to be a go-between.
We'll find out which side you're on. I'm one of you!
Early report, the Cardinals, winners of their first game of the year last week, trying to find the solution again today, and they're leading the Giants 7-0. A 50-yard pass from Jim Hart. Meanwhile, Buffalo leading New England 3-0 in the first. Gary Danielson, 1st and 10 from his own 3-yard line after that great punt by Greg Coleman. And Horace King gets out to the 4.5-yard line, so he picked up not quite 2 yards on the play. Another score coming in now, a precinct heard from Green Bay, 3 and Philadelphia 0 in the first. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Minnesota Vikings and the National Football League is prohibited. 2nd and 9 as Monty Clark squints through the sun to see if the Lions can claw their way away from their own goal line. A lot of movement that time. Lawrence Gaines, number 38, came up out of his stance. Dexter Bussey carrying it. But I think that someone moved, and Gaines was certainly obvious. He's spelling Horace King.
Well, they got mixed up on the snap count.
The legal procedure against Detroit. Luther Blue bringing in a play. And Jesse Thompson goes out. We have 7 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the first quarter. No score.
Offense, penalty decline.
So it was Lawrence Gaines who came up out of his stance. Penalty declined. It is now 3rd and 7. The ball is almost on the 6-yard line, so they've been able to move it 3 yards. Second man, Dexter Bussey, with Jim White having him by the shoulders. Bussey dropped at the 9-yard line. And now, here comes a special unit led by number 15, Tom Skladany, who will be asked to kick it out. And, of course, the Vikings figure to have good field position. Kevin Miller goes back to handle the ball, and Kevin standing at midfield. So Tom Skladany will be kicking it out of the Detroit end zone.
The Viking defense did their job. Forced a punt. Should give them good field position.
Skladany.
That you really like,
yes,
field position.
So important, Jim. If you get field position, you're going to be in business.
Nobody coming, and Skladany gets it over to the 45-yard line. Kevin Miller picks it up there to the 40, spun around and dropped as he got to the 38-yard line. So Kevin Miller making the return. The man to hit him was Jim Sokolowski. So no score with 6 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the first quarter. The Lions and the Vikings.
You give a man a couple of days to himself and a Black & Decker workmate, and there's almost nothing he can't do. You can pound on it, saw on it, hammer on it, and sand on it. The sturdy vice jaws do the holding for you. You can clamp on it, paint on it, cut a shape on it, drive a screw on it. There's almost nothing you can't do. When America has a job to do, it reaches for Black & Decker.
Take any razor available in America. Now there's an electric shaver that will shave as close or your money back. The Remington XLR. Remington can guarantee a close shave because of our unique 3-part system. The first head shaves close, the second closer. The exclusive Intercept cutter is designed to shave longer hairs. The Remington XLR. It shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Available at over 1,300 Kmart stores across the USA.
I'm Lynn Swan of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I hope you'll do it the American way on Election Day. Go to the polls on Tuesday and vote for the candidate of your choice.
Pittsburgh's Roy Girella has just kicked a 27-yard field goal with 6:20 left in the first quarter. Pittsburgh 3 and New Orleans nothing. Meanwhile, the Vikings, who was stymied on the Detroit 45, actually have picked up 7 yards in an exchange of punts. They put it in play 1st and 10 on the Detroit 38-yard line. Slot left, and Tarkington is looking left, running away from Al Baker, throws it over the middle. It is intercepted by O'Neal at the 25, and that will break a string for Tarkington.
Well, when you get this field position, you got to take advantage of it. Tarkington, in this case, couldn't find anyone open. He could have run. When he scrambles, he's buying time. And he actually threw a poor ball here.
This is the Kmart 672, Kmart's best car battery. Like another leading premium battery, the 672 is calcium lead constructed. Like one other premium battery, it's truly maintenance-free, completely sealed so you never add water. But the 672 has one other feature you'll find only in Kmart automotive products. The 672, Kmart's best battery, is Kmart priced.
Inspector, I have the clues.
You have the clues?
Meet me in a silver Mercedes outside.
Mercedes.
79 Ford Granada, an American classic, sometimes confused with a Mercedes.
Inspector, where are you?
I'm in the car.
I'm in the car.
You're in the car?
Are you sure you're in a Mercedes?
Oh.
One good way to tell Granada is by its sticker price.
Ah! That's a Granada, you fool!
Of course, I can see that.
Next Saturday at 4:30 on the CBS Sports Spectacular, see Hugo Coro defend his World Middleweight Championship against Rodrigo Valdez. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
A disillusioned Tarkington. He had thrown 80 passes without an interception, but Ed O'Neal picked off his 3rd of the year, and it's 1st and 10 Detroit on their own 26-yard line. And we'll see what Gary Danielson can do this time. He sets up a screen to Freddie Scott, and he is upended by Nate Wright, who came up quickly, and number 43 just cut his legs right out from under him. Right now, as you see, a big number 76, and that is Carl Baldishweiler. An interesting battle going on because Baldishweiler, a rookie, 22 years old, is up against Jim Marshall, who is at least 40 and has spent 19 years in the NFL. That's quite an interesting assignment, fellas.
Yes, it is. Big Jim Marshall.
So 2nd down for Danielson, and he'll set it up. And he's going over the middle. No good. It was intended for Freddie Scott, and Bobby Bryant was right there to stick his finger in it and knock it away. Fellas, let's take a look and see how Carl Baldishweiler did head-to-head with Jim Marshall. Here they go. He just lets him go outside, Jim.
Yes. Sometimes that's not too bad. You let him go outside and he goes around the passer steps up into the pocket. So I would call that a standoff, really.
So it's 3rd and 9 on the Detroit 27. Danielson trying to get his offense in motion. He almost got White coming out of his stance, but he held on, and the pass overthrown, intended for Luther Blue. Fred McNeil, the middle linebacker, had dropped back, and again, let's look at the rookie Carl Baldishweiler.
Well, we have a passing situation where Jim Marshall is running a stunt, taking it inside. So he just turned him over to the guard. Did his job.
So Tom Skladany will get off his 3rd punt in this first quarter with 5 minutes and 31 seconds to go. Skladany kicking from his own 15, and Kevin Miller standing alone on the Minnesota 35. Skladany with a good snap from center, and arrows one over towards Kevin Miller, and it takes a Detroit bounce and gets inside the 25, and Nat Terry will down it at the 23-yard line, and that's where Tarkenton and company will put it in play. 1st and 10 on the Viking 23. No score. 5 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first, and a couple of reminders. First of all, the CBS Sports Spectacular World Middleweight Championship, Hugo Coro versus Rodrigo Valdez. And the CBS Sports Spectacular with the Stuyvesant Handicap. That's for 3-year-olds and up. Seattle Slew will be making a farewell appearance. Next Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 Central and Pacific. 1st and 10 on the Minnesota 23. In motion goes Sammy White. He's picked up by Luther Bradley. Meanwhile, Chuck Foreman is picked up at the line of scrimmage and fights his way for maybe a yard. Another note about the Minnesota running game. Minnesota runners have averaged only 3.2 yards a carry. Only Atlanta has a lower running average of 3.1.
Yes.
And speaking of Atlanta, they're down 3-0 to San Francisco in the early going, a 20-yard field goal by Ray Wershing. 2nd and 9. Again, Sammy White in motion. Tarkenton play action fake to Ricky Young. Now a wobbly pass that is caught by Ahmad Rashad at the 39-yard line, and they pick up the first down.
Well, every play, Tarkenton's been in a different formation. Here's a play action rollout. He comes around, he has the option of running or throwing off a motion. Now watch this, makes the fake of the draw. He comes out, he can throw deep or he can throw short. First down, good execution.
1st and 10 on the Viking 39. Rashad is left, White is right, Chuck Foreman up the middle, and he is buried by Lyons. And the first man to hit him was Woodcock. Al Baker came over and hit him from behind. A little bit of a late hit, and Foreman kind of looking down at Baker. He didn't say much to the rookie, who is 6'6" and 260. Another precinct heard from. Jim Zorn, left-handing Seattle out in front of the Bears 7-0. Of course, the Bears went into that game having lost 6 straight. 2nd and 10, the ball on the Viking 39. Rashad is left and White is right. So they put him back as a wide receiver instead of having Sammy White in the backfield. And there's the draw to Chuck Foreman, and he got out to about the 41, a pickup of 2, so it should be 3rd and 8.
Well, Jim, they haven't gotten that running game going too much today.
Yeah, it's very difficult, it seems, to get, that rhythm today.
Fellow we're looking for to see if he'll handle the ball is Ricky Young. Gained more than 10 yards and only 1 carry this year. And of course, as a senior, he was averaging almost 7 yards a carry at Jackson State, so it's a tough transition for Ricky Young. There's Ricky Young now, number 34. He's on a wing. And Tarkenton is going over the middle to Ricky Young, and they wrap him up as he gets across midfield for the first down. So if he doesn't run, he'll be at the other end of the pass.
All right, as we look at this from the end zone camera, we're going to see Tarkenton doing his main thing. This is a little roll around by Ricky Young over the middle, which is used a tremendous amount of time by Tarkenton and a lot of other quarterbacks, because when you roll those backs out of there, you roll 2 of them out, sometimes very difficult to cover.
1st and 10 on the Lion 48, and for Ricky Young, that's the 48th catch he has made this year. Play action fake to Foreman. Tarkenton throwing to Young, who makes a catch on the hip. He was missed 6 games with a severely pulled hamstring, was there to push him out.
Quick count, sprint out by Tarkenton, first down play. He figures to pick up 3 or 4 yards in this type of play. The ball was thrown a little bit behind Ricky Young. Hunter makes the tackle.
And Coach, a very interesting point here is when you throw this many passes to your backs and everyone else, your line really block pass so much until sometimes they don't really block run that well.
So it is 2nd and 6 for Tarkenton and the Vikings on the Lion 44. No score, 1:53 to go in the first, and there goes Foreman. Across the 40, dropped down at the 38. Charlie Weaver, number 59, was there to hit him. Bud Grant taking a look at the proceedings, and it's always worthwhile to look at Bud Grant. Overall, starting the year with 116 victories, 9 Central Division championships, an NFL Western Conference title. In fact, he's always been a winner. His first catch in the NFL, Bud Grant caught an 84-yard touchdown pass against Pittsburgh. That's how he broke in as a player.
He's done a great job here, Vinny. His team is consistent.
Here come the tight ends, Craig and Voigt. Yeah, Jimmy?
Oh, you know something, Vinny? The way that Chuck Foreman ran that play, I would bet that that's an old play because he ran it with tremendous confidence. You know, we're talking about the new plays. You don't usually run new plays with the same kind of confidence.
It's a good point. 3rd and inches, so you have both Craig and Voigt. The 2 tight ends are in there. Robert Miller is a running back along with Chuck Foreman. And it will be Foreman following Miller's block. And I believe he got the first down. He just went right behind Robert Miller. And they stacked him up pretty well, so it'll be a question of measurement. Down at the bottom, you see the tight end, one of the 2 tight ends. That was Craig. And they made it. So they needed inches, and that's about all they got, but it was just enough.
Let's see what Tarkenton does on first down now. He has good field position, 38-yard line again. The last time in this position, Vinny threw an interception.
Exactly. He was 1st and 10. Monty Clark hoping to see his young Lions get some good field position themselves. Defensive club has really had to work in the early going. 1 minute left in the first quarter. 1st and 10 on the Lion 38. Rashad is left and White is right. Foreman the only running back. Ricky Young is on a wing. Chuck Foreman running into people, gets to the 36-yard line. So he picked up 2 to make it 2nd and 8. Bud Grant, after somewhat of a slow start, and one reason was Tarkenton, and then suddenly Tarkenton was avoiding the interception. He went 80 without an intercept and threw one today. In fact, he had only 1 intercept going into this game in his last 148 passes, so things settled well for Bud Grant.
And Vinny called a brilliant game last week against Dallas, although he didn't get the same amount of yardage as before.
So Francis Tarkenton, 18 years out of Georgia, has his ball club on the move, 2nd and 8 from the 36 of Detroit. Tarkenton to Ricky Young, got away from Ed O'Neill. O'Neill had both arms on him behind the line of scrimmage, but he was able to break the tackle. Paul Newmar finally brought him down with help from Dave Purifoy.
Well, he's mixing his calls, Jim. He's pounding out right now.
Well, we have run out of time. The first quarter is history. The Vikings have been on the move, but the young Lions are stiffening. No score.
Hasn't been much in the news lately about the Korean influence scandal. Maybe because there wasn't much to it, but maybe there was. I mean, they talked a lot about how to get Koreans to testify under oath, but it takes 2 to make a bribe. Why didn't they get the congressman to testify under oath and in public, like with Watergate, and not just the scapegoats, but the big guys, too? It seems perfectly clear that the Democratic leadership in Congress didn't want us to hear the whole story. We need some new leadership. Only way that's going to happen is by electing a Republican Congress.
Thanks for the tour, fellas. Man, it's dark and dirty down in the mine. But Ken here drives home in the cleanest car you ever saw. And every time he fills it up with gas, he has an easy pouring bottle of STP gas treatment, because it gets in there and helps keep that carburetor clean. And that's the way this young man wants it. I take good care of what works hard for me. So for my car, it's STP.
Before we rent you a GM car at National, it gets checked out by the big green team.
Willoughby, this old's cutlass. Oh, top condition, Coach. I checked all 10 items on the maintenance checklist.
Spare tire? Wipers? Horn? Then, after we check our cars, we check our checkers.
And did you sign the list? Coach, just checking, Willoughby. Just checking.
The big green team, we're National Car.
This is Vin Scully along with George Allen and Jim Brown, and fellas, about as fast a quarter as you'll ever see.
Yes, quick huddles, a lot of passing, short passing game.
Not many timeouts.
Meanwhile, the Vikings now, 3rd and 6 on the Detroit 34. That's their deepest penetration as you look at the 3rd down conversions. 3rd and 6 for Tarkenton, Young on a wing. Sammy White wide right, Foreman all alone. Rashad is left. Tarkinen looking at Foreman, but he's going to throw beyond him, and he's got his man inside the 20-yard line. Sammy White making the reception, brought down by James Hunter. I wonder if they're picking on Hunter now, Coach.
Well, here's what Tarkinen does exceedingly well. Rolls out to his right, the defense is left. He can run here. He's buying time to throw the football and pick up the first down. Working in front of Hunter.
Tarkington is now 7 out of 10 for 78 yards. It's a 1st and 10, just shy of the Detroit 18-yard line. Rashad is left with Sammy White in a slot. Young on a wing, Foreman the sole running back. And they pitch back to Foreman with Yeri and Young blocking, but they can't wipe them all out. Mike Burns came up to take Yeri's block, and that opened it up for the rest of the Lions come up and slow him down. They will spot the ball at the 16-yard line, so a pickup of 2 will make it 2nd and 8 on the Detroit 16. No score, 13:47 left to the half. Jim, Minnesota holding the ball most of the first quarter.
Yeah, Jim, in this situation, he has run quick traps on 2nd and long. Let's see what he does.
Let's look for it. It might be a good call here.
Rashad left and White right. Young and Foreman split back of Tarkington. Everything, and a flag dropped on the 15-yard line. The Lions are indicating that it is against Minnesota, and it would appear to be just that. So the Vikings holding on, and Cal Lepore, our referee, will mark it off and then give us the official call. With 13:24 to go to the half, no score, the Vikings and Lions. And here's Kyle's call.
False start, 68. Offense, 2nd down.
That's Charles Goodrum, guard on the left side for Minnesota. False start coming up out of his stands. So it's 2nd and 13 on the Lion 21-yard line. Rashad is left and White is right. Tarkinen is looking left and lobbing it for Ricky Young at the 15, and he's at the 10-yard line. Coming underneath was Luther Bradley, and Charlie Weaver, the linebacker, went over the top. But there's the #1 pass receiver for the Vikings, Ricky Young.
This is going to come right into your living room, ladies and gentlemen. We got good cameramen here today. Tarkin, of course, goes back, no rollout, no sprint out, throws a beautiful ball. Coming right to us, Ricky Young, who has to learn to catch if he's going to play for the Vikings. By that I mean, if you're a back, you always have to catch the ball because you're going to get the ball.
Bud Grant has kept him busy now. 49 pass receptions for Ricky Young. It's 3rd and 1. The ball is on the Lion 9. And Foreman going over the pack would appear to have fallen forward. Minnesota started drives on their own 19 and couldn't make it. Then on their own 23. And now they have moved it down inside the 10-yard line, and we'll see if it's enough for a first down. They'll have to measure. If so, we'll have a 1st and goal. And this young Lion ball club being moved back, but very slowly. They are grudgingly giving up the yardage. And Monty Clark now wants to get a closer look as they measure, and it is a 1st down for the Vikings. So Monty has to be a little unhappy now as the Vikes are getting closer to the goal line and the scoreboard. 1st and goal on the 8. Stu Voigt, along with Craig, the 2 tight ends come out. Robert Miller is in there now to run along with Chuck Foreman.
You know, Vinny, you can never underestimate a knee injury. 95% isn't 100% to Chuck Foreman.
Well, we'll see what happens now. 1st and goal from the 8 with Foreman and Miller, the running backs. 2-13. Talking into Robert Miller, and he just runs into a Lion team meeting at the 10-yard line, and he's chewed up. John Woodcock, number 77 on the bottom, along with Doug English and Al Baker, and they were right there to read it.
The defensive charge they had on a tight inside defeated that play.
So it's 2nd and goal on the 10, and we get a report now Atlanta has taken over the lead on a touchdown to go out in front of the 49ers 7-3. That was from 1 yard out, Steve Bartkowski sneaking over. So Bartkowski, who looked like he was seriously injured Monday night against the Rams, is well and playing. 2nd and goal from the 10. Tarkinen looking left under some heat, and he gets away from Baker and English. Now English is after him again. Woodcock hits him as he throws it away. So Tarkinen was scrambling with English and Woodcock, and John Woodcock, who is 250, brought him down.
Well, here's Mr. Scrambler himself. In this particular case, as you watch him, he could have scrambled for some yardage, but he decided not to. And he did an excellent job of getting rid of this ball and not taking a big sack and losing yardage.
Well, there were two debatable points there, Coach. I think he could have scored if he wanted to run the ball
Well,
in.
That's what I mentioned. He could have.
And also, I think there's a little grounding there.
He got hurt last year, and I'm sure he doesn't want to take any chances.
Definitely.
3rd and goal from the 10. Ricky Young is back in there with Chuck Foreman. Ahmad Rashad wide left, Sammy White right. Tucker on the right side. That's Bob Tucker. He hasn't touched the ball yet. Fumble by Tarkinen, but he falls on it. And he'll maintain possession at the 14-yard line. And a fellow who's frustrated is Doug English. He came within an inch of recovering that fumble for Detroit.
Well, it's the 2nd time that this has happened in this game. I don't think it's the center's fault, because before it definitely was not the center's fault. But maybe the weather's getting a little colder, and when it gets a little colder, your hands gets a little stiffer, and you have to get used to handling the ball under those circumstances.
Well, they had it 1st and goal on the 8 at Bud Grad and the Vikings. Now they have it 4th and goal on the 14. And Rick Danmeyer, who is 9 out of 14 in field goals, gets it up, and it is good. And he is now 10 for 15. And with 10 minutes and 54 seconds left to go to the half, Minnesota breaks the ice, climbs on the scoreboard, and leads the Lions 3-0.
Energy for a stronger America.
It starts here on the North Slope, the incredible 800-mile Trans-Alaska Pipeline. Now that it's completed, the oil it carries will reduce the payments America makes for foreign oil by billions of dollars each year. And each tanker of North Slope oil leaving Valdez Harbor carries a vital new source of energy for a strong America.
Wendy's presents hot and juicy hamburgers. If you've ever had a dry, chewy hamburger, you're gonna love Wendy's hot and juicy hamburgers. Wendy's hot and juicy hamburgers. Juicy meat, juicy toppings, and lots of napkins.
All right, tell me what. Watch Paul Krause spin the laces so they're facing the goal line as he kicks the field goal.
A 24-yard field goal by Rick Denmeyer. And Minnesota out in front 3-0. And the kickoff to Nat Terry at the 5. He gets out to the 15, to the 20, and is he buried at the 25. What a hit by Randy Holloway, number 75. Almost knocked his head sideways.
Holloway. Whew. This is what I call professional football. This is hitting. Holloway paid the price. Right, Coach?
That's the type you usually get a fumble on, Jim.
Oh, yes.
Holloway, by the way, is 6'5", 245 pounds, so he shouldn't have a number. He should have a license plate coming down that fast. 1st and 10 on the line, 25. The backs are Bussey and Gaines. And it'll be Bussey following Gaines' block, but there are too many purple shirts around, and down he goes. Doug Sutherland was the first man. Eller's at the bottom. Gary Danielson, 3-year man out of Purdue, is the young quarterback for Detroit. He comes into the game with a 54% on his passes. He's averaged almost 6 yards of completion. He has 7 touchdown passes. He has thrown only 6 interceptions, and his longest pass of the year prior to today, 47 yards. 27 years old out of Purdue, Gary Danielson, and a free agent 2 years ago. And he is is going to be dragged down and got away from White and Marshall, but not from Sutherland, who drops him at the 15.
Well, you know, Vinny, Detroit hasn't made a first down running or passing.
White and Sutherland on the tackle of Danielson.
The Viking defense is dictating to Danielson. Right now, he has no one to throw to. He's trying to find an open receiver. The rush gets to him. He wiggles loose. And on a mound, weighing 160. And then gets sacked. The Viking defense is in complete control.
It is 3rd and 20 from the line, 15-yard line, because of that sack. Danielson now will have to come up with a big play, and there goes Horace King trying to get outside Marshall. He gets out to the 20 and to the 25-yard line. Bobby Bryant was there to grab him underneath, and then McNeil, along with Hannon, finally made the tackle, and Detroit will have to punt again. Tom Sladany will be called in to kick it, and for Monty Clark, he has to be very proud of a stubborn young Lion defense, but his offense is sputtering in the early going. 9:14 left to go to the half. Sladany will be kicking from his own 10-yard line. Kevin Miller all alone on the Minnesota 40. And the Vikes have Nate Allen trying to get in, but they take him away. And here's Kevin Miller's return from the 35 to the 40 to the 45 on his feet and into daylight. And Sladany can't quite get him, but slowed him up, and he's finally knocked out of bounds. If Tom Sladany doesn't trip him up, he goes all the way. As it is, he is knocked out at the 18.
All right. Now let's look at this. There's a little hesitation there. The main thing about this punt is that it was low enough so that it really wasn't covered very well. The blocking developed. The tackling really isn't as poor as it looks because those angles are very difficult when a man is moving with that kind of speed. Danny does a great job right here, just like you said, Vinny, because he tripped him up and allowed the tackle there. Great run
the
back.
Vikings now capitalizing, have it 1st and 10 on the Detroit 18, and a tired Lion defense is back on there again. Here goes Ricky Young inside the 15, a flag on the play.
Ricky Young, the ball carrier, there's a flag play.
Well, Ricky Young carrying inside the 15, and there's a flag. And it'll be a holding preliminary call against Minnesota.
Boy, a penalty in here hurts, Jim.
Terrible time for a penalty, Coach.
So from 1st and 10 on the Detroit 18, they'll move it back to the Detroit 28-yard line with Minnesota leading. Let's listen to Cal Lepore. We never quite heard the number. It could have been Mick Tingelhoff, number 53, and we're pretty sure that's who it was. So 1st and 20 from the Lion 28. Ahmad Rashad is wide left, Sammy White right, and White now is in motion. Play action fake to Ricky Young. Tarkinen under a rush sets it up to Bob Tucker. And Tucker is going to be tripped up at the 25 and dropped right there. Charlie Weaver broke up the play at the 25.
Wow, that was a matter of timing. Now, as we look at this, think of Tucker hesitating just a little bit more to let his blocking form and get out in front of him. He was just up in there a little too quick. Now, as you look at him, you see right here, he's tackled, but that's a matter of timing. It could have been a great play.
As it was, it only picked up 3, so it is 2nd and 17 from the 25-yard line. White right, Rashad left. Tarkinen with Foreman out in front of him, looking for help, dumps it off Foreman's hand, flag on the play. Al Baker was right there. He's pounding the ground in frustration.
Well, one thing Detroit's going to have to do is contain Tarkinen on these sprint outs. He has too much time, and he's looking to throw the ball, not run it.
I think the penalty's against Chuck Foreman for holding.
Holding against the Vikings.
Vikings had Foreman grab and hold before the pass was released. He was holding Mike Burns, number 29, and I'm pretty sure that's the call. Al Baker still telling everybody how close he came. Number 60. He had his meat hooks out there, but that wobbler got away. Hang in there, Al.
They're really high on him in Detroit.
Oh,
they say
he's
he's a
dandy.
fantastic player with a great attitude.
Here's the call. Hope. That's right. It was holding against Chuck Foreman. He had 2 handfuls. Look at 29.
Yes.
That's Mike Burns. And watch Chuck Foreman come over and grab him.
He grabbed him by the jersey.
He sure did.
I'll tell you what Chuck is trying to do. He's really trying to protect Tarkenton in that situation. He was holding a long time before the pass was thrown.
2nd and 27 from the Lion 35. Remember, the Vikings had it on the 18, so they've gone backwards. Tarkenton hurling the ball low down the middle. What a tremendous effort by John Woodcock, who hurt his knee slightly. But big 7 was airborne, and he got so high, Tarkenton could just throw it away, and he was 3 feet in front of the intended receiver.
You know, Jim, here it is again. Tarkenton's rushed here.
Here comes Woodcock, right there.
Right there.
Key there, Coach, was the height.
Made him throw off bounds, but 2 penalties after that great punt return have taken them out of field goal.
Yes, because of the play you mentioned, that holding penalty at the wrong time. Psychological and everything else, it was wrong.
They've lost 17 yards now since they had 1st and 10 on the Lion 18. It is now 3rd and 27 on the Lion 35. Sammy Johnson in there to block, and Tarkenton looking deep. Goes down the left side, has his man, and it's dropped. His man is Tucker, and we'll see if it's a fumble and recovery. Charlie Weaver has the ball, and Detroit takes over. 1st and 10 as Charlie Weaver comes up with the fumble on the Lion 20-yard line.
That was definitely a fumble.
There's a reason that you're saying that, Coach. What is that reason?
Well, the defensive back knocked it loose. Tucker had the ball. Now let's watch to see if we can see it.
But a lot of times in this situation, a referee would not call that a fumble.
Yes,
that's what you really meant.
Yeah, he made the good call there.
To every secretary who ever asked why centering a line can't be automatic, and why setting up columns, and indenting, and underlining, and erasing too can't be automatic. To all those secretaries, IBM says, wait till you get your hands on this. The new IBM electronic typewriter. So automatic that while you fold the letter, it types the envelope. Now that's automatic.
Introducing a whole new breed of Mustang. The all-new 79 Mustang from Ford. With a new aerodynamic design, precise handling, and Mustang performance from options of V6, V8, even a turbocharged engine. Mustang for 79, the new breed in 2-door and 3-door models. Capture one at your Ford dealer now.
Next Sunday on CBS Sports, see NFL doubleheader action. Check local listings for the games and times in your area. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
Bob Tucker trying to keep his hands warm, having just fumbled. Charlie Weaver recovered. The Lions put it in play 1st and 10 on their own 20. Detroit really dodged a bullet. Luther Blue in motion to the right, and the second man is Gaines, and he gets up to about the 22-yard line. Charlie Weaver, the man who came up with the fumble recovery, number 59. And for those of you who remember the USC Wild Bunch, he is 8 years removed from USC. He played a big part in the 1970 Rose Bowl victory over Michigan, and naturally Detroit fell in love with him. Charlie Weaver. New Orleans leading Pittsburgh 7-3 in the second quarter. 2nd and 7 on the Lion 23. Gary Danielson has been unable to move the Detroit offense at all up to here. Danielson to Horace King, who spins across the 25, drops to the 27-yard line. McNeil had him by the ankles.
You know, men, we have an interesting thing here. Detroit hasn't made a first down, and yet they're in the ball game only behind 3 points.
Exactly right, and I think that is what Monty Clark is hoping for, to stay close and then maybe be able to pull it out.
We've had an interception and a fumble turnover, plus a bitter holding penalty against Minnesota. Big third down play for Danielson, trying to keep the drive alive from the Detroit 27-yard line, and Gary's going to put it up. Eller has him and falls down. Danielson throwing and a diving reception. No good. The tight end Hill made the catch, but he went skidding out. Take another look at that effort by Dave Hill, number 81. You'll see Eller, number 81, coming in there, left-handed but fell away. And now Danielson spots Dave Hill, and take a look at the dive by the big tight end, and you call it. He goes skidding out of real estate.
It was a good call. Great effort by Hill.
So Tom Skladany will have to kick it out of there.
He's going to be an excellent tight end.
Skladany punting from his 15. Kevin Miller on the Minnesota 35. And there it is. Kevin Miller making the reception on the Viking 30-yard line. Gets to the 35 and is dragged down at the 40-yard line. Bill Gay able to tackle him. Let's take another look at that, Coach.
Well, Eller almost had him. He didn't keep outside leverage on him, which you have to do on a quarterback who can run. Now, Hill is coming across in a crossing pattern and has to leave his feet and dive for the ball. And he's out. He's out. It's a close call.
That picture didn't show it, but I agree with you.
My old buddy Jim was a great umpire. He was quick on his feet. He's got eyes like an eagle.
I'm still quick because I don't get filled up. I drink light beer from Miller. Light tastes great. It's less filling. It's got a... What's it say?
Here you go, Jim. Try those.
Oh, yeah. A third less calories than a regular beer. Hey, you're Boo Powell. Hey.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Introducing the new Ford Pinto for $79. A new design for a little American workhorse. New up here, new back here, new in here, and a parade of new design Pintos to choose from. The new Pinto ESS, a new cruising wagon, a new Pinto Squire, a new cruising sedan, and a new Pinto wagon. So join the band. See all these new design 79 Ford Pintos. A little American workhorse at your Ford dealer.
Once again, Bud Grant sees his Vikings in good field position. They have it 1st and 10 on their own 42-yard line. Rashard wide right, and Sammy White is in a slot and now in motion. Young on the wing, Foreman all alone. Tarkinen pitching back to Foreman, and he's brought down. A good play by Charlie Weaver. Purifoy hit Tarkington, and I think there'll be a penalty charged against Dave Purifoy, number 75. Tarkinen is still down on the ground.
This is what George Allen calls a delivery sack, although at this time I think Tarkington would be considered a runner, right, Coach?
Yes, he would be. It's an option play, yeah.
So I think the call is a little debatable. Let's look at it again. Now, this is an option play. He's a runner at this time, but I guess it was a hesitation, so I think the official is exactly right on that.
Well, he got drilled if you saw that hit. Purifoy hit him high, helmet right about into the face, and Purifoy is 255.
If you recall, this is what happened to Kilmer last week, and the same type of play, a weak side option. He doesn't want to run the ball, he wants to pitch it.
That's when Tarkinen says to Bud Grant, as we'll take one more look. Watch how Purifoy, number 75, will hit him helmet and right into the nose guard. Boom! And you can understand why Francis is shaken up.
Well, he was never the threat of a runner.
Purifoy's momentum didn't carry him into Tarkinen.
Well, here comes Bob Lee, a 10-year man out of the University of College of Pacific, and Fran Tarkinen, who took that helmet in the mouth. He took it. He's probably going to tell Bud Grant to take that play out of the book. That's too expensive. It looks like he cut his nose and lips. A pretty good lick by Dave Purifoy, who formerly played with Green Bay. So they call it the black and blue division, and there's a little red in there as well. So Bob Lee will pick up for Fran Tarkinen. It's 3-0, Minnesota. 5 minutes and 53 seconds, and Francis took that shot in the mouth directly. And Francis evidently heading towards the dressing room, and they'll have to work on him. So Bob Lee will take over. Lee has not played much. And he gives to Ricky Young with Goodrum out in front of him. Goodrum blocking Weaver, and that makes the play go out to the 35-yard line. So Charles Goodrum leading the way, making a good block.
Number 68, Goodrum, is doing a very beautiful job here. We watched this block. Key to this particular play. You can't ever overemphasize good blocking.
He took Charlie Weaver right out of the play to Charles Goodrum, so it is 2nd and 1 on the Detroit 35-yard line. Bob Lee at the control, Sammy White in motion. Here goes Ricky Young. And he gets just about to the 30-yard line. And of course he picks up the first down as Francis Tarkenton leaving the field with a cut lip or mouth, or both. And he certainly does not figure to play anymore in the first. So 1st and 10 on the Lion 30. Boy, that Lion defense has been out there all day. Chuck Foreman taking the handoff, and he might be guilty of his second big call. There's a flag on the play, and I think Foreman was in motion before the ball was snapped.
Well, he got a very quick start there, Coach.
He was.
So Foreman having a tough day, as again we see Francis Tarkenton, who is having an even tougher day. Tark going with team position.
He'll be all right.
I'll tell you something, Coach. You're absolutely right. Vinny, whenever it's a mouth or teeth or lips, they always come back.
That's right. Reminds me of Roger Staubach. He had his lips split open in a recent Dallas game, and Landry said to him after the game, "You checked off on the line, and I want you to look in the mirror, and every time you see that split lip, you remember not to check off again."
Really?
he won't call that play many more times.
Dr. Lannon taking Francis Tarkenton back into the Viking dressing room. 4:27 to go to the half. 1st and 15 from the 35. The penalty was against Chuck Foreman. He was in motion, so Chuck's having a rough time. A big holding play against him, and now he was moving too soon. Lee looking down the right side, now goes the other way to the left side. No good. The intended receiver was Sammy White coming back over to the sidelines. Luther Bradley was there to defend. We can check his score. Philadelphia and Ron Jaworski out in front of Green Bay for the moment, 7-3. And it was John Sciarra on a 3-yard run. He's a handy guy to have around, Sciarra. They now got him in the backfield. Meanwhile, New England leading Buffalo 7-3. A 19-yard run by Morris Ivory gets New England out in front. 2nd and 15 from the Lion 35. It's Sammy Johnson, the up back, but it'll be play action fake by Lee. Under some pressure, and down he goes. John Woodcock, who made that leaping stop of Tarkenton, this time drags down Bob Lee.
Well, Lee has does not have the quickness of Tarkenton. Should try to get rid of the ball, not get this sack and take himself out of field goal range. This is the rustiness of a quarterback who's been on the bench.
It's the second time in this quarter the Vikings have gone backwards. They had 1st and 10 on the Lion 18 and went back where a fumble was recovered. They had it 1st and 10 on the Lion 30, and now Lee sees his club is back on the 46-yard line. It's 3rd and 26. Lee with his back staying in to block. Unloads, and it is picked off by Luther Bradley. He took it away from Ahmad Rashad, and he's knocked out of bounds on the Lion 29. And boy, you've really got to congratulate the young Lion defense. They played great.
Jim Lee put this up for grabs here. He threw it off balance. Watch him going back.
Yeah, it really represents the fact that he really hasn't had playing time, Coach. He did that on a previous pass.
What comes out of a loudspeaker is only as impressive as what goes into it. Pioneer's HPM speakers have a unique super tweeter that breathes to produce incredible highs. Its driver delivers remarkably crisp mid-range. Its bass you not only hear, but feel. So instead of sounding great on part of the music, HPM speakers sound great on all of it. Pioneer, we bring it back alive.
Alcoa can't wait.
Here they come, pouring in from California and Vermont, from Texas, Oklahoma, and Georgia, from all over the country. Billions of used aluminum cans headed for recycling. Today, about 1 out of 4 aluminum cans is recycled and used again. Tomorrow, maybe 1 out of 3. Someday, maybe every one of them.
We can't wait for tomorrow. Alcoa can't wait.
Next Saturday at 4:30 on the CBS Sports Spectacular, see Hugo Coro defend his World Middleweight Championship against Rodrigo Valdez. You'll say you saw it on CBS Sports.
So Detroit with 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery, bobbing and weaving. They're still behind, but only 3-0, and they take over 1st and 10 on their own 30. King and Bussey are the running backs behind Landry. Play action fake to King over the middle off the hands of Bill Gay. No, it's Fred Scott who came racing across and had his hands on it, but that's all. So it is 2nd and 10. Gary Danielson trying to get something going and give that Lion defense a chance to breathe.
You know, Vinny, he's just a hair off, too, you know. Just a hair off.
Jesse Thompson bringing in a new play now from Monty Clark. 2nd and 10 from the Lion 30-yard line. Danielson 2 for 6. Gained only 3 yards in the air thus far. 2nd and 10 from the 30. In motion goes Horace King to the left. And they pitch out and set up a screen, but Bobby Bryant is there to freeze him. And then King moves it to 30 anyway. But Bobby Bryant, the veteran of 10 years experience, number 20, came up to freeze him in his tracks.
You know, Jim and Vinny, Minnesota has dominated the first half. And yet the score is only 3-0. Detroit's going to come up with a big play here. They can't keep, the defense can't keep playing this well.
Exactly right. It can be a psychological factor, you know. It can be a very negative factor to dominate this way and not score any more than 3 points.
Exactly.
Monty Clark looking on to see if Detroit can keep the ball. It's 3rd and 10 on the Lion 30. They have been bogged down offensively. Danielson down the right side to Scott. Scott holding on to the ball, and if they give it to the receiver, Nate Wright will lose it, and it should be enough for a first down. The leaping catch by Scott, and he got it out to the 42, and they finally convert.
Now, here's their first down of the half, and Danielson had time to throw, got set, drilled it into Scott, and he made a good play. The defender was right there. Can't play much better.
And we have the beginning of what you were talking about.
Yes, Jim.
So there's the first down for Detroit. 1st and 10 on the Lion 43. King and Bussey, but Danielson going to put it up again, getting a rush, and it's deflected by White. They call him Duck White. Jim White, a 3-year man out of Oklahoma State, number 72. He's 6'3", and he got his hands up to knock it down. You can take a look at a kid who was a first-round draft choice in 1976. Number 72, here he comes, and up go the hands, and he deflected it. Doug Sutherland is also there. Sutherland can't recoup it, and there you see the first down. It's pretty one-sided. Minnesota 9, Detroit 1, but it is only Minnesota 3 and Detroit nothing. 2nd and 10 on the Lion 43. Blue left and Scott right. Danielson figures he can't run. He throws and completes it. Dexter Bussey handling the ball across the 45. And they'll spot it at about the 47-yard line. Seaman and Blair there.
Well, Vinny, as we look at this from ground level, Danielson really doesn't want to throw this particular pass, but he has to because he doesn't have that much time. A broken tackle here would mean an awful.
Imagine if someone invented a wonderful box and gave you a way to catch little pieces of your life so that you could see them again anytime by just dropping them into the box. Now, wouldn't that be something? Well, it is something. Polavision, Polaroids, instant movies. Seconds after you shoot, you've got it. And you'll still have it even when certain persons go off to college.
We gonna be the bowling champs now! Yeah! Are we having a problem? Yeah.
Did I forget my press stone?
Yeah.
Take out the O, put in the 2, put Put in the Prestone, Prestone 2.
Protect against freeze-ups and corrosion. Take out old, weak antifreeze and put in America's most trusted antifreeze, Prestone 2.
Take out the old, put in the 2. Put in the Prestone, Prestone 2.
And when you flush your cooling system, use Prestone Super Flush.
With 2 minutes left to go to the half, it's a combination of Minnesota mistakes and the alertness of a Detroit defense that has been out on the field most of the first half, but they have picked off 2 Tarkinen passes, recovered a fumble. It is only Minnesota 3, considering the fact they've had the ball all day. 3-0 Vikings, and it is now 3rd and 5, and whoops, the Vikes were moving. Flag on the play. Danielson goes through with the play anyway. A pass intended for Freddie Scott, no good, but that should be a 5-yard penalty against Minnesota and an automatic first down. Coach, it must be frustrating, you too, Jim, when you have the ball as much as Minnesota has had and have only 3 points on the board.
Well, Detroit, this is an improved Detroit team.
Yes, it is. Monty Clark is doing a tremendous job there, great job. He's an old teammate of mine. I'm very happy for him. Defense is playing really great today.
Much better team than what we saw before in Atlanta.
Oh, yes, that was the day they had only 4 yards rushing in the second half and 22 in the game. Let's listen to Cal Lepore now.
First down at Minnesota 47.
So the Viking line guilty of the infraction. It's 1st and 10 for Detroit. In the Minnesota 47, that's their deepest penetration of the day. And Danielson going to stay in the air. He has his man Dexter Bussey at the 40-yard line, and Jeff Seaman and Matt Blair are there to stop any further advancement. Clock stopping with 1:49, and there's a flag on the play. And it could be that Detroit, after getting to the Viking 47, will be penalized back to their own territory.
Holding, looks like it's holding Carl Eller.
Eller has been putting a lot of pressure on Gary Danielson. They tell us that Mark Mullaney started the year playing very well, and Eller, 15-year veteran, decided, hey, I want my job back.
Exactly right, but the great thing about, Mark Mullaney is that he can play either side and spell either Marshall or Eller.
There is Eller's left hand on Danielson, but he was held. So that'll put the ball back to the Lion 43. First down, and Danielson looking left. Again, Eller, and they set up a little screen, and it is Horace King getting to midfield, and Holloway buries him, but drives him forward with the tackle and knocks him down at the Viking 45.
Detroit hit that just right. The Vikings dogged, and a screen is a good play against the dog.
Now we're fighting the clock with 1:26, and Danielson on a 2nd and 8, throwing in a hurry, and has his man Horace King inside the 35. And the Lions are on the move. Benny Ricardo is the field goal kicker for Detroit, and he has kicked 11 out of 19 prior to today. And in looking at Ricardo's performance from inside the 49, from the 49 to the 40, he's 3 for 8, so they're trying to get closer.
Here's what we got, Jim and Vinny. We got 1:20. A team that's been dominated, they have a chance now to go in at halftime tied or ahead, and they haven't been in the ball game. And
that's exactly what Monty Clark was hoping for.
And it's been because the Vikings have had penalties, mistakes when they got down in field position.
Exactly right, and Clark probably has been conservative, hoping that they could get turnovers and stay close in a situation like this.
Jim, how did you feel when you got down around the 20 and you had a penalty, a holding penalty?
Well, I tell you, all of our team leaders, when we get around the 20, we're going in, we go to everybody and we say, look, sacrifice the play, but don't create a penalty. Do not create a penalty in this territory.
That's great.
You can't make the block, let it go. Don't hold.
Don't make a mistake.
Team leaders must do that.
Gary Danielson with veteran Greg Landry wearing the windbreaker, and Danielson coming back in with a play from Monty Clark. 1st and 10, Lions on the Viking 34. This drive started on the Lion 30 when Luther Bradley came up with the interception. And the Lions are on the move. 3-0 Vikings, 1:20 to the half. Luther Blue is wide right, Freddie Scott wide left, Hill the tight end on the right side, King on a draw. And he gets to the 33. What about that call, Coach? You like it?
I like that call. Good first down call. You're expecting pass. Fake the pass, run a draw.
To the Minnesota 34. Second down and 10 for Gary Danielson. Eller trying to get at him, but he completes it to King, and he's dropped at the 20. Nate Wright to make the tackle. Horace King, who had caught 27 passes going into this game, picks up a big one. First down on the Viking 20.
Timeout.
With 55 seconds to go to the half, the Detroit Lions, who've been on the defensive all day, suddenly are underway.
And our coach, George Allen, predicted this a long time before it happened.
And, well, you got to take advantage of the opportunities. If you don't, the opposition comes up. They say, hey, we're in this ball game.
That's right. Haven't done a thing and still in the ball game, right, Coach?
Danielson got clobbered on that last play. Delivery sack, got hit.
Gary Danielson at the wheel is 8 for 13 for 56 yards. And again, huddling on the sidelines, Danielson, a 3-year man out of Purdue.
I think, Jim, they have one timeout left. I believe they've taken 2 timeouts. I think they have just one left.
With 55 seconds left, and Horace King is coming to the sidelines. Larry Gaines back in there for him. So Lawrence Gaines replacing Horace King. First and 10 on the Viking 20-yard line, thanks to that catch by Horace King. And with 55 seconds left, the Lions are getting closer to a tie or even a lead, depending upon what they can do with the ball now. First and 10 on the Viking 20. That's the deepest penetration for Detroit. Gaines is the up back. Dexter Bussey behind him. Blue in a slot left. Looking left is Danielson, throwing high off the hands of Luther Blue. Wise was there to defend as it went out of bounds. By the way, Coach, on that play, what do you need to be a Wise, to be a safety man or a cornerback in the NFL? What do you look for?
Well, I look for quickness and covering one-on-one. That type of an athlete. They dogged in that play. I like to see a receiver go up with 2 hands rather than just try to reach up there one hand.
I'm sure Monty Clark does too.
Vinny, some coaches say that the cornerbacks have to be your best athlete. The position is that tough.
Well, I've always felt that, Jim.
All right, second 10 from the Viking 20. Danielson looking left, but he's going to flip it out to Horace King. King to the 20, and he gets out of bounds shy of the 15-yard line. It'll be at the Vikings 16, and we have 42 seconds left to the half.
And the Vikings dogged again. They're going after him. They don't want to give him time to throw and putting the pressure on him.
And Danielson is reacting to that pressure.
Yes, he is.
So they'll spot the ball on the Vikings 16-yard line. So it'll be a third down play. 3rd and 6.
And here's where we used to stress, don't give up the ball. If you're in doubt, throw it away. Don't get sacked. Don't throw an interception. We want to at least get a field goal.
The big play, 3rd and 6 from the 16. 3-0 Minnesota, but Detroit on the move. Gaines and Bussey with the crowd hollering defense. And the pass is over, intended for and complete. Jesse Thompson making the reception. Nate Wright knocks him out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Benny Ricardo standing on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And Ricardo could be asked to tie it up, but meanwhile, with 36 seconds left to go to the half,
first down.
The Lions have picked up a first down, and it's actually a 1st and goal with the ball just inside the 10-yard line.
They can go for 3 downs and still kick a field goal.
Blue goes left, Scott right, Hill is on the left side, and it's Gaines and Bussey back at Danielson. And it is Gaines across the 10 and then barrel back again as the Vikings stiffen and the clock continues to stop at 30.
Yeah.
So the timeout now for Detroit with 30 seconds left. They have 2nd and goal on the Viking 9.
Now they'll have to throw twice.
But now, Coach, is where Danielson's value will really show, because it's dangerous. If they're going to throw, he's got to really be aware of that clock and know exactly what to do.
Monty Clark, as you can see, talking to Gary Danielson, and with his back to you wearing the windbreaker, is Greg Landry. Landry, who now looks back almost at us, has a record he just as soon not think about against Minnesota. He has played the Vikings 12 times, and he is 0-12. That's just another reason why Danielson is in there now.
You know what I always used to worry about in here, Jim and Vinny, defensively, we're on defense now, was a quarterback who could run, sprint out, with the option of running first and throwing second, right in here, because you only need 7, 8, 9 yards for a touchdown.
By the way, Danielson has carried the ball 9 times this year. However, one of his runs was for 25 yards. So it's just a thought.
That puts added pressure on the defense.
You're absolutely right. Also, he has the option of running out of bounds, stopping the clock, and getting the field goal team in.
It's pretty safe. Now, we used to try to counter that with a dog. With a dog, the 2 outside linebackers. Let's see what the Vikings do here.
It is 2nd and goal on the Viking 9. 30 seconds to the half, 3-0 Minnesota. The running backs are King and Bussey. Jesse Thompson in a slot right inside Scott. And Danielson is looking over that way, and he throws it out of state.
Yeah. He did a wise thing.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The only man who had a chance coming across was Jesse Thompson, and there were 3 Vikings back there, Wise, Wright, and Blair. And now Benny Ricardo is getting ready. It is 3rd and 9. And if this play doesn't make it, Ricardo will be the man on the spot. He's a 3-year man out of San Diego State, Benny Ricardo, who, among other things, owns a ladies' boutique, which is one for the books in the NFL. 3rd and goal from the 9. Scott is left. Blue is right. Time running out on Gary Danielson as he goes down the middle. He's got his man. Luther Blue, touchdown. Luther Blue picking up the touchdown, his 2nd touchdown pass of the year, and unbelievably the Lions lead.
Well, he had the protection. He's got time to throw here. See the protection. He's following Luther all the way. An in move, which is very difficult to defense down in here.
And Coach, as we watch Danielson, he's doing exactly what I wanted to see if he could do. He is showing his value as a quarterback. He threw the other one out of bounds, stopped the clock, get it way out. He threw the touchdown with authority.
Benny Ricardo gets it up and good. And so the Lions, who started the drive thanks to Luther Bradley's interception, they put it in play 1st and 10 on their own 30. They go 70 yards to get on the scoreboard and lead Minnesota 7-3.
You know, what's happened is just what we predicted.
With 22 seconds to the half, and Francis Tarkenton already in the dressing room. You remember Tarkenton took a shot in the mouth and had to leave with a cut lip. However, we would expect to see Tarkenton for sure come back on the field in the 2nd half. Bob Lee, his replacement, had only 2 plays under his belt. As you see, Monty Clark seeing his club finally get an offense going.
You know what's very interesting, Vinny? We have Coach George Allen, who is going to be coaching next year, and we didn't predict it was going to happen, George. You predicted it.
I wouldn't predict tomorrow's Monday.
You know, Danielson did a good job, Jim, in that 2-minute drill all the way along.
Beautiful job.
Bud Grant has seen his Vikings give up 2 interceptions and a fumble. They've had 2 calls go against them. They were calls, rules infractions that they were guilty of, and the Lions just waited patiently. Finally, on Bradley's interception, they went 70 yards in 17 plays, and they take a 7-3 lead.
Let's see what type of kickoff we get here.
Benny Ricardo will kick off. Kevin Miller is deep on his own 2-yard line, and we'll see now if Ricardo tries to kick it all the way. He kicks it down to Robert Miller, who fumbles and then picks it up, and at the 20-yard line he sets sail to the 25 and is dropped at the 26. Calicut, who does not play very much, Ken Calicut, a free agent out of Clemson, made the tackle. So with 17 seconds left, Minnesota has not used timeouts, and we'll see what Bob Lee can do. 2 previous plays against the Rams. That was all Lee had worked this year. And with about 4 minutes to go in the half, he had to take over for Tarkenton. Sammy White, wide right, Rashad to the left. The ball on the Vikings 26. The running backs, Ricky Young, who's going to handle it right now, and down he goes. Doug English, number 78, just tied him up.
And you know something, Vinny? They're making a telephone call right now. to the locker room for Fran Tarkenton.
I'll bet you. With 2 seconds, the line is busy. And they are heading for the clubhouse. It has been a remarkable first half. Minnesota had the ball, it seemed, all the time. They'd settle and finally give it up, and finally Detroit put it together for a 70-yard drive, a touchdown pass from 9 yards out from Danielson to Luther Blue. Ricardo's point after was good, and Detroit goes in feeling not only have they dodged the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, they're leading.
Well, the Vikings have had some tough breaks. Losing Tarkenton at that point of the ball game when they were on offense and had good field position really hurt them, because Lee came in and it was evident that he was rusty, got sacked, threw an interception. That changed the tide.
Good point, Coach, but they were making too many mistakes when they had field position, as you pointed out earlier. That's really what killed them.
Interceptions for Detroit by Ed O'Neill and Luther Bradley. There was a very big fumble by Bob Tucker, and Charlie Weaver recovered for Detroit. And that fumble by Tucker really took the air out of Minnesota. Remember, they had it 1st and 10 on the Lion 18 and completed the pass to Tucker only to give up the ball. And the Lions took over on their own 20-yard line.
And as we looked at Bud Grant, the fans, didn't see it on television, but he was really giving Tucker a good tongue lashing in that situation, which is uncharacteristic of Bud Grant.
It is interesting, too, that Minnesota won its conference last year with a -19 in turnovers, which seems almost impossible. Coming into this game, they were a +5, and they had only 1 turnover in their last couple of games. Looked like everything had finally come together, and now it's come apart.
Going back to what Jim said about Tucker, Tucker has a habit of carrying the ball in one hand, not putting it away, and he'll run with the ball with one hand down by his side. We used to try to go for the ball when Tucker was with the Giants to get a fumble.
So the Minnesota Vikings, and let's get back to this because it is important. It's something that you mentioned at the very start of the broadcast, fellas. The Minnesota running game has been just about non-existent.
With Tarkenton's knowledge and his ability to find the open receiver, any type of a running game will make him twice as effective.
Chuck Foreman, just to conclude the thought, has carried the ball 10 times for a grand total of 11 yards. It's been tough going against the young Lion defense. So it's halftime here at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. The upstart Detroit Lions are leading the Minnesota Vikings 7-3. And with that, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
All right, thank you very much, Ben. O.J. Simpson has been taken out of the game down in Atlanta because of an injury. We'll check that. But right now, let's take you live to St. Louis, where the Cardinals, who last week were able to win their first game, lead the New York Giants by 20 points. You are looking live with 26 seconds left for Joe Pisarcik and John McVay and the rest of the Giant coaching staff. Irv, you've been checking that game carefully. Have the Giants just fallen apart here this afternoon, or has it been all Cardinals?
No, I don't think so. I think it's been mostly the Cardinal offense. Brent, they went into this game feeling they could throw deep on the Giants, and they've done it successfully. And unless the Giant pass defense is going to stiffen up, Jim Hart's going to have a field day.
McVay telling Pisarcik to keep it moving because he's only got 26 seconds as he signals out to his quarterback. The Giants undoubtedly will try to get something going here. Goldstein started at quarterback, and when he could not move the Giants, then they turned back to Pisarcik, who had been benched a week ago down in New Orleans. New Orleans playing a dandy game against Pittsburgh. The swing is to Hammond. There is a penalty flag down. Gained about 3 yards on the play. The clock is still moving. They had 26 seconds when that sequence began, and it's going to be holding against the New York Giants. So while we're watching here live, let me get you up to date on everything. Philadelphia leading Green Bay 7-3. That is at the half. New Orleans ahead of Pittsburgh, also 7-3, ready to start the third. Archie Manning fumbled the ball, or the Saints might have had more. There's the score of the game you've been watching. And, of course, Atlanta and San Francisco. O.J. injured. The Falcons are ahead 7-3. The 49ers dropped the touchdown pass. The game you're watching, the surprising Lions lead the Vikes by 4 points at the half. New England and Buffalo 7-3. The Patriots were behind 3-0. Now back live again in St. Louis. Here's Pisarcik. Straight back, down the middle, and it's complete. No, dropped. It's an incompletion, so we go right back to that scoreboard for you. 14-6 as the Bears have just kicked their second field goal. That game is in the second quarter. The Bears have lost their last 6. Cleveland and Houston scoreless in the first right now. And Oakland and Kansas City are underway. They too are scoreless. That's in the first quarter. So let's go back now and check in on the Giants and the St. Louis Cardinals. Again, they have ruled that pass over the middle, incomplete. Final 10 seconds here of the half. Second and 20 now. 20-0. Straight down the middle, looking for the interference call. Do not see the yellow flag. It is called incomplete, Irv Cross, and the final 3 seconds left up there for the Giants. So they appear to be out of field goal range. They're down by 20 points, and it looks as though that's the way the first half is going to end there in St. Louis, with the Cardinals suddenly regrouping under Bud Wilkinson after losing their first 8 games, then going into Philadelphia last week and winning for the first time. Now they've got the Giants on the run. The Giants at one time were 5-3, have now fallen to 5-4, and if they lose this game this afternoon, you can just about forget about the Giants' playoff chances. This year, of course, there are 2 playoff teams, and that adds some interest. So back we go now. Last play of the half. 3-man rush, so the extra defensive back is on the field right now for Wilkinson and the Cardinals as time runs out on the last play. Goes for 6, and it's intercepted, and that's it. The half will end, and we'll send you right back to Vin Scully right now from New York. Vinny?
Halftime at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. The Detroit Lions, on a 70-yard drive, have taken the lead. The Lions 7, Minnesota 3.
We're here in the desert to prove how much power and endurance is packed into the Skill cordless 3/8-inch drill and screwdriver. With just one charge, we drilled 199 holes. 200. And it still has enough muscle to drill through concrete and drive screws into metal. With 2-speed trigger for better control. For any tough job at home or anywhere, take along the Skill cordless drill and screwdriver and do it with skill.
With great skill and discipline, you teach what's been kept a secret for centuries. And when the lesson has been taught and learned, now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. America's quality beer, Miller High Life.
You got the time, we've got the beer, Miller beer.
Sir, excuse me. You just bought a new maintenance-free Firestone Forever battery. How come?
Well, the warranty. You see, if this battery ever fails to hold a charge for the original owner, that's me, in the car in which it was originally installed, right here, Firestone will replace it free with proof of purchase, provided it's not merely discharged or damaged due to accident or abuse. Oh, and I don't even have to put in water. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it sure does.
The Forever battery, now maintenance-free.
On Sundays, CBS Sports presents the Emmy Award-winning NFL Today Show with Brent Musburger, Jane Kennedy, and Irv Cross. We'll have Jane Kennedy going on to the field with the headline makers.
Irv Cross showed me 2 ways to stop these guys. So defensive backs, take note.
We'll also have Jimmy the Greek's predictions and incisive commentary by Jack Whitaker. The Emmy Award-winning NFL Today Show. You'll say you saw it on CBS Sports.
Was that the what? Well, in case you might have just missed it, after that flag, the Giants tried one more play, but it was intercepted, and the Cardinals are sitting on top of a 20-0 lead over the New York Giants. Meanwhile, here at Bloomington, Minnesota, Detroit leading Minnesota 7-3. Upcoming, Dallas and Miami. And here's the thoughts of coaches Landry and Shula.
The biggest game is that we're both one behind our leaders in our divisions, and we only have 7 games to go. We've been down 2 already this year, early in the year, but when time starts to run out, then games become very, very important. So this has to be a must game for both Miami and Dallas.
We've had some big ones in the past, but certainly at this point in the season, this has got to be a big game. Our offense has to be able to control the football. We've got to have some type of running game. Now, Delvin Williams has been doing an excellent job for us. But, of course, the Dallas flex defense pretty much controls whoever they want to control. As far as defensively, you just have to keep your poise. You can't worry about all the shifting that's going on and then forget to play when the ball is snapped. You got to let all that camouflage go on and make your adjustments defensively, and then when the ball snaps, play tough defensive football.
I think the thing you've got to remember in our league, in the National Football League, that our game is pretty much of a mental game. It depends on how your players think, where you are, what you're doing.
You have to take winning and the success that goes with it, and you can't let it get to your head.
And I think when you come off the Super Bowl, in most cases you're overrated the next year from what you really are. Other teams come after you much stronger than they've ever come, because if you win the Super Bowl in 1977, then you are the measuring stick for 1978.
Teams enjoy playing against teams that have a reputation for winning, and we've won through the years, so that's why teams enjoy getting it up for us. People enjoy beating the Dolphins, not so much because Don Shula coaches the Miami Dolphins, but I think the fact that we have won Super Bowls.
And when you're fighting for the Super Bowl, everything seems to be on the upbeat. Everybody wants to win. They're paying a great price. Once you win the thing, then you want to win it again, but subconsciously you're just not ready to play at the same level you played before. And so sometime along the season you get in a position like we are right now, where you got to make up your mind whether you're going to come back and win it or not, or whether you're going to be watching the other teams play on Christmas Day.
Halftime in Minnesota, the Detroit Lions 7 and the Minnesota Vikings 3. And now this word from your local station.
A practical joke causes a strange bedfellow for Archie. Be here when he wakes up on the morning after the night before on All in the Family, tonight at 8, 7 Central and Mountain on CBS.
The Alan Brown Report, a special set of interpretive, analytical statistics rather than the usual one. Detroit leading Minnesota 7-3. Minnesota had the ball over 7 minutes more than Detroit, and you see the important stat, key factors, Detroit 4, Minnesota nothing. George, Jim, why don't you get into that key factor area?
Well, Vinny, I picked out two of them that were really vital to me. One was the offside, not the offside penalty, but the penalty of holding on Minnesota, which really killed a drive in Detroit's territory. The other was the Tucker fumble, and to me that was the key factor of the half, the single key factor.
George, how do you see it?
Well, there were a couple of more. There's another interception that Lee put up, and then a sack that took him out of field goal range. Minnesota has dominated the half, and I think it's like hitting with men on base. You can get a lot of hits, but you got to hit with men on base. The 92 yards that Detroit made, most of it, Vinny and Jim, was made in that 2-minute drill.
That's right. They went 70 yards the last time they had the ball. As we see Tarkenton loosen up, evidently the injury to the mouth was not that serious, and he'll be back in there. Detroit 7, Minnesota 3.
This is a bodybuilding course. Take it. If you'd like the chance to be in this kind of shape, join the people who've joined the Army. For more information, call this number toll-free.
Good old Charlie, that's me. Somebody's got a dead battery and they call good old Charlie, and I jump-start 'em. Rain, snow, day, night. Well, this time I tell them, get your own Die-Hard.
The maintenance-free Die-Hard has extra power to start your car when most batteries won't.
This is the last time.
Thank you, Charlie.
Oh, anytime.
The Die-Hard, sold only at Sears.
That's my team, the Detroit Lions. And I am James Hunter.
Everyone knows that Detroit is the automobile capital of America. But I'd like to show you the people that make it happen. They come from all over the world, the rank and file of some of our biggest unions, executives of some of our largest corporations. Here at the assembly line, it all comes together because these people work together. If they don't, Detroit doesn't roll. Working together makes you understand that each of us has special needs. Our United Way knows that. That's why they have programs like this that work to find good homes for black and biracial children. All kinds of people support our United Way because it helps all kinds of people. United Way works in the Detroit area. It works in your town too. Thanks to you, it works for all of us, the United Way.
The preceding announcement brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. Tom Skladany had the ball blow off the tee as we're about ready for the start of the second half. Kevin Miller is deep. He's flanked by Harry Washington on his right and Robert Miller on his left. And the kick goes down to Kevin Miller. It's a short one. He takes it at the 15, to the 25, across the 30, to the 35, tripped up at the last minute by Leonard Thompson, or he would have had a big return as he went across the 35. They'll spot it at the 37-yard line, and Minnesota will put it in play. 1st and 10 on the Viking 36-yard line. That's where they put it officially.
Well, that's good field position.
And Francis Tarkington, who had a bleeding mouth as a result of a savage hit with about 4 minutes left to go to the half, has returned. We understand a couple of stitches, but he's back in there.
Jim, most of these veteran quarterbacks like Kilmer and Tarkington play better when they're hurt.
Kevin Miller banged up on that return, and he is heading for the pit. 7-3 Detroit.
Find this near your home.
Oh, hi, it's me again, posting and pasting more posters. This time it's for the first annual Delco battery sale. AC Delco is making it possible for you to buy a Freedom battery at a special sale price.
Thanks, Delco.
Wherever you see this poster, look for it in your neighborhood for a great price on a battery you can trust. Thanks, Delco. Well, you'll be saying thanks, Delco, too.
Nobody does it better than Hertz.
Nobody does it better. Hertz leads the others by far. Nobody does it best of all. You Hertz, the superstar.
Nobody has more of what it takes to rid you of Fairmont, Mustang, LTD, or other fine car faster.
Hertz, the superstar.
You know it.
Next Sunday on CBS Sports, see NFL doubleheader action. Check local listings for the games and times in your area. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
1st and 10 Vikings on their own 36-yard line. Sammy White in motion, and here comes Ricky Young, chased by Doug English, and English gets him from behind as he gets out across the 40-yard line. He's dropped at the 41. So Chuck Foreman, with Ricky Young doing the running that time. Foreman, as we mentioned, in 10 carries ran for over 11 yards in the first half.
Well, the Vikings, as we said all the ball game and at the start, have to get their running game going so Tarkington's passing can be more effective.
2nd and 5 from the Viking 41. Sammy White left and Ahmad Rashad goes right. Tucker, the tight end, on the left side. Foreman and Young following Foreman's block. And he gets out across the 45. Mike Burns hit him, but he just brushed it off, and Al Baker finally brought him down.
Let's watch number 60, Al Baker. Good battle right there. Stands still, but he gets away and makes the tackle.
3rd down and 1. The ball is just out of the Viking 46, a pickup of 5 on that run. Now Robert Miller is in there along with Chuck Foreman. It'll be Foreman following Miller and Sutherland, and he's out in the open. A great lead by Doug Sutherland, and Robert Miller made the play go to the Lion 43.
As Vince Scully said, Sutherland leads this play, gets a pretty good block, Foreman keeps his balance there. Right now, there's a little. is field position, so you have a chance to come right back down the field.
Field position football. Big down here, third and 5.
Big play now on the Lions' 6-yard line. Clarence Gaines back in there with Dexter Bussey. Horace King has come out, and Gaines following Bussey. Fumbles to the and falls over the ball. It's recovered by Minnesota. Wally Hilgenberg might have been the one to fall on it. It was
Let's bring
Matt
this one
Blair,
right in your
number
lap.
59.
Ground level. Look at it. Now that's a fumble in a very key situation, but you must understand that fumbles are different. I don't feel he coughed it up. He was trying to run hard. He wanted the first down. He had 2 hands on the ball, but the tackle knocked the ball out. Consequently, I would not call him a fumble. I would let him keep his confidence.
Right here, Tarkenton's first call is vital right here. Play action, get on the board quick.
1st and 10. The ball is just inside on the Lion 19. Tarkenton to Rick Young going wide, and he's grabbed down from behind by Paul Newhoff.
They're still pounding it out.
That is really the first key factor to go against Detroit in the game. It's been Minnesota fumbling, Minnesota being intercepted, Minnesota guilty of the penalty infraction.
Again, this half has been all the Vikings, but no points on the board. They
Seattle
have to score in here.
Putting points on the board against the Bears, 14-9. Bob Thomas, a 39-yard field goal. 2nd and 9. The ball on the Lions 17. Tarkenton looking right and flipping it to Foreman. Charlie Weaver holding on to him and brings him down. Boy, he was eyeballing him that time. He had him all the way.
All right, you know that their defense in Foreman, Weaver is stalking him out there. But basically, he's number 59 in white. But basically, what I'm looking at is Chuck Foreman right now. The quickness one-on-one is not there today. I do not understand it. I must put it on the knee. Normally, Chuck Foreman would spin, make a move, get rid of any one tackle in the league.
And as you can see, Chuck Foreman goes out, whether it's a knee or otherwise. He seemed to slip, too, as he tried to set to make a move.
But there is a slight limp, Benny.
Yeah, there
see
sure
the limp
is.
as we looked at it.
Sammy Johnson is coming in now to replace him. 3rd down and 15. Tarkenton under some heat. Now gets it away. Touchdown to Sammy White.
Great job by Tarkenton. Well, this is a great effort by Tarkenton, especially. They got the safety blitz on. Watch the safety come up and put the pressure on him. Now Tarkenton will step up in the cup and throw off balance and get a delivery sack.
2 of them.
And a great catch by
Sammy White.
Sammy White.
And for Sam, that is his 7th touchdown reception of the year. Dan Meyer's kick is good, and the Vikings have turned it around now. It is Minnesota 10 and Detroit 7.
All right, we're looking at it from a low angle. Tarkenton is beautiful. He's just like you say, Coach. He watches, steps up, moves up, and throws off balance, as you said, and Sammy White makes a tremendous catch in the end zone for the touchdown.
Think. Multipath deviation meter, an LED signal strength meter, JCPenney's MCS Series 75-watt receiver. Think of it.
Extra, extra. Read all about me. New Mobile Super Unleaded Gasoline.
Boy, oh boy.
Well, I got higher octane.
It's in all the papers, boss.
I mean, I fight NOx. I fight pings. And I'm so great, I'm also replacing Mobile Premium. Paper, sir? Extra, extra. Read all about me.
Mobile Super Unleaded Gasoline.
Next Saturday at 4:30 on the CBS Sports Spectacular, see Hugo Coro defend his World Middleweight Championship against Rodrigo Valdez. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
Minnesota cashing in a fumble by Lawrence Gaines. Caps it off with a scoring pass from Tarkenton to Sammy White, and Minnesota leading 10-7, kicks off with 4 minutes and 47 seconds to go in the third. Here comes Nat Terry to the 15, to the 20, to the 25, to the 30-yard line before he's brought down. Mark Keller had to meet him head on and drop him at the 30. Tuesday night on CBS, election coverage. Walter Cronkite heads the ticket as anchorman. Harry Reisner, Roger Mudd, Dan Rather, Leslie Stahl, and Bruce Morton bring you regional results from their posts around the nation. And Eric Severide sizes up the election picture with his penetrating analysis. Tuesday night, election coverage on CBS. First and 10 on the Lion 30-yard line, 10-7 Minnesota. Danielson handing to Bussey, and Bussey is to the 35, to the 40, to the 45-yard line. A 15-yard run by Dexter Bussey. So first down for Detroit as they try to come roaring back.
All right, as we look at this, there's good blocking on the play. Dexter Bussey runs this really well. I mean, he picks his holes, he makes the right cuts. And right now on this particular play, he's as good as anybody in the league. You like that run, Coach?
Yes, it's the first good run of the game, Jim.
Yes, sir.
In motion, Jesse Thompson to the left. Danielson going over for Thompson, but he overshoots him at the 45-yard line. A score, New Orleans, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh stubbornly holding on in what appears to be a mighty tough ball game. Pittsburgh 13 and New Orleans 7 in the third. And St. Louis leading the Giants. The Giants finally get on the scoreboard. The Cardinals 20 and the Giants 3. And Oakland leading Kansas City 7-0 in the second. Kenny Stabler, a 4-yard pass to Raymond Chester. Second and 10 from the 45. Scott Wright, blue left. Danielson faking to King under a heat. A screen set up. And right there to read it is Matt Blair and Jeff Seaman, and end of story. Dexter Bussey was all alone, and they buried him.
Well, this is a play-action delayed screen coming off of a fake, but it shows a great reaction of active linebackers. Playing their keys, following their man all over there. No chance.
Playing team defense, huh, Coach?
Good pursuit, good team defense, Jim.
Third and 17 on the Lion 38. Danielson throwing out to the right side, and it's juggled and dropped. Dave Hill was right there, but he tried to go before he had it. And Matt Blair kind of pats him on the helmet as if to say, there.
Well, you got to wait for the ball. You got to wait for the ball, and when you have to wait, watch the ball float out there.
Yes.
And he knows there's people on his back, and he tries.
The anxiety exists,
yeah,
right, Coach?
See, that's really not his fault.
They really get ready to move out.
So Tom Skladany will be kicking from his own 25-yard line. Sammy White is in the middle, flanked by Nate Wright and Hannon. And Skladany angles it. Sammy White will take it on his 26. Ooh. He's hit, fumbled, and let's see. Minnesota recovered. It was Jesse Thompson, number 84, who hit Sammy White just as soon as the ball hit White's hands.
Then as soon as I saw that, I thought he should be signaling for a fair catch. He didn't have a chance there.
No. Boy, Jesse Thompson going down on great coverage. But the fumble recovered by Minnesota. They lead 10-7.
Today, you'll turn a mountain of canvas and a truckload of living dynamite into one of the world's oldest fantasies, the circus. And together with every man and beast you've got, you'll haul and shove and shake that mountain until you finally reach the moment that says it's done. Now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855.
When it's time to relax, one beer stands clear. Beer after beer. If You've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller Beer.
Atlanta leading San Francisco 14-3 in the third. And a report of another game, Seattle sitting on top for a 21-9 lead over the Bears. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. A pitch back to Foreman, a good block by Ricky Young, and then Foreman goes out of bounds. Young laid the wood to Charlie Weaver. That was a good block, but Foreman just ran out of territory.
Well, actually on this play, the real key in a sense is Ricky Young's block. It was a tremendous block. Watch it right here. Down, boom. Totally took the man out of the play. Unfortunately, the block on the outside was not a good one. So consequently, Foreman was forced out of bounds.
Philadelphia trying for an upset over Green Bay, leading 10-3. And of course, Philadelphia, last we heard, they were just plumb run out of running backs. 2nd and 9 from the 29. Targeting into Chuck Foreman, and Foreman gets out across the 35-yard line. Jimmy Allen and Paul Newmore brought him down.
Jim, Vinny, that's the best type of play today for the Vikings, is a quick hitting play where there's not the stringing them out and running sideways, straight ahead. It looks like it's better for Foreman and his condition. Most of their yards have been made. What yards they have made has been going straight ahead.
Excellent point, Coach. Foreman and his condition today, that is exactly right.
3rd and 3 on the Viking 36, with the Vikes leading the Lions 10-7. Rashad is left and Sammy White right. Tarkinen looking left and cranks up and goes down the middle, intended for White, no good. It just went off the hand of Burns, and shaken up on the play is James Hunter.
Well, that's one of the few times Tarkenton's gone deep today.
Well, if you watched his delivery and watched the ball, you probably understand why. I don't feel that he can really throw that ball with the same kind of authority deep anymore. It seems to be pushed out there with an effort. I mean, maybe I don't see it right, huh, Coach?
It was underthrown, Jim. Yeah, the ball was underthrown.
Well, James Hunter going off the field under his own power. Greg Coleman now booting. Jesse Thompson standing back on the Lion 20-yard line. And Coleman hits a low line drive, but it'll bounce in front of Thompson at the 20. At the 25, Matt Blair has him, and that's that. They got out to the 23, but Matt Blair hammered him down. Don't forget the CBS Sports Spectacular, the World Middleweight Championship, Hugo Coro versus Rodrigo Valdez. And the Stuyvesant Handicap, the farewell appearance of Seattle Sleuth. Next Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 Central and Pacific.
You know, there's only 2 minutes left to play in this quarter. Huh?
See how the time flies when you're having a good time.
See?
1st and 10 for the Lions on their own 23-yard line, 10-7 Minnesota. King and Bussey are the running backs. Blue is wide left, Scott right. Play action fake, end around to the tight end Dave Hill, and Hill fumbles. Dave Hill lost it, and Minnesota recovered.
Well, this is really a beautifully set up reverse play, a fake into the line, fooled our cameraman for a minute there. Hill comes around, he's running hard. He didn't really use his timing there, and he fumbled. This is a fumble that I would blame Hill.
Well, I like the call. Nothing else is going. Now watch McNeil, 54, come over and force the fumble.
Well, Hill was not carrying the ball correctly.
All right, Minnesota 1st and 10, capitalizing on another fumble by Detroit. That's how they got their other touchdown in the pass to Sammy White. Ricky Young barreling inside the 35-yard line. And for Detroit's defense, they are suffering the pangs of a porous offense.
One point I would like to make, Vinny, is that the weather is a little cold right now. We're getting into the cold weather. That's one of the reasons I think that the guys are having a problem today holding the ball.
You know, right here, if the Vikings have the tenacity, they can put this game pretty well out of reach by scoring a touchdown right here.
The crowd heavily bundled up, as you can see, although it is not as windy as we had been told it would be. The wind has not been a factor. 2nd and 5 on the Lion 33, 10-7 Vikings. We have 1:19 for the end of the third. Foreman goes to the 30-yard line after Doug English hit him.
This is the fourth time, Vinny, that the Vikings have had the ball in Detroit territory to date, and they still only have one touchdown.
And that touchdown came on a marvelous diving catch by Sammy White. And again, that was because of a fumble by Lawrence Gaines. Now Minnesota trying to cash in a fumble by David Hill. 3rd and 2 on the Lion 30-yard line. Young and Foreman the running backs. White is left and Rashad right. Tucker, the tight end, on the left side. Whoops! And Tucker, the tight end, moved. So Bob Tucker, who had a fumble earlier, this time is guilty of moving.
Jim, the Vikings are making too many mistakes for a veteran team.
Well, there might be a reason for that, Coach. You know, Bud Grant has put in, you know, different offensive plays, different offensive sets. You said they've been in many different sets, a different set almost every time.
Well, of course, 3rd and 2, your tight end shouldn't be offside no matter what set you're in, you know. But you know what? This second half, they're going back to their old stuff, their bread and butter stuff, you know, their basic sets.
Yes, I do happen to agree with that.
Well, we couldn't quite hear Cal, but it was Bob Tucker, the tight end, guilty of moving. The infraction moves the ball back to the Lion 35-yard line. Meanwhile, New Orleans on a 5-yard run by Tony Galbraith, leading Pittsburgh 14-13 in the 4th. We only have 36 seconds to the end of the 3rd quarter. Targeting rolling left, Foreman out in front of him. Now he sets and goes down the side to Rashad. Rashad beat Luther Bradley for the big first down.
Well, Tarkenton lined up what we call a double wing with the remaining back to the weak side and rolled to his left. The defense is right, very smart. Spots the open man and drills it in there.
And it was no coincidence that he went right after the rookie out of Notre Dame, Luther Bradley. So Tarkenton, who can pick a defense apart as well as anybody who ever played the game, has them in perfect position, and the 3rd quarter is history. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter. With the score of Minnesota 10 and the Detroit Lions 7, we now pause for a word from your local station.
Sunday on Kaz.
There's been an inmate takeover at your old prison. The prisoners have asked for you to be a go-between.
We'll find out which side you're on. I'm one of you!
This is CBS.
He was an embittered man who had lost his family and his faith until he was drawn into the passion, the fury, and the holiness of the Word. David Jansen, James Whitmore, Florinda Vulcan, and Geraldine Chaplin seek the answer. A hoax or a miracle? The Word, starting Sunday, November 12th.
So the start of the 4th quarter. Minnesota leading Detroit 10-7. Minnesota capitalizing for his only touchdown after recovering a fumble by Lawrence Gaines. Now trying to capitalize on another as the direct result of a fumble by David Hill. 1st and 10 on the Lion 21. Tarkenton handing to Ricky Young, following Chuck Foreman, but there are a lot of Lions following him.
They didn't move anyone there, Jim.
Well, you were talking earlier about the offensive line not really being able to move anyone, you know, for the rush. But you have to go back to the week of practice. Usually you have to share your time between pass blocking and running blocking. And with Fran Tarkenton, you're probably not going to get a chance to do a lot of practice on run blocking. Could be a factor.
There's Chuck Foreman out taking a breather now. Sammy Johnson is in there for him. It is 2nd and 8 on the Lion 19. In motion goes Ricky Young. Tarkenton lobbing it high and deep to Ahmad Rashad. No reception, but they're going to call a rule infraction against James Hunter. Hunter had his arms around him. Rashad unable to hold on to the ball, but the flag will be against James Hunter.
Well, the Vikings used motion to change the strength. And then they sent Rashad on a go pattern. Tarkenton threw a perfect strike in there, laid it right in there. He should have had it. And he dropped it.
The penalty charge to James Hunter, so they'll spot it 1st and goal on the Lion 1.
Pass interference, 28, defense, 1st down.
Chuck Foreman now comes back in the ball game. The pass against James Hunter, who had missed over 5 games with a bad hamstring. So Tarkinen now, we'll see if he's on the ground to Foreman, and Jeff Foreman scores.
All right, right along the plane of the goal line. Let's watch the goal line and watch Foreman. Takes off a little closer this time, but as I look at the plane, I do not know. But the official says yes. George, you want to get in this little Val Apples? Let's look at it again, Coach. I'm going to give it to you this time.
All right.
Ball cross holding. Rick Danmeyer's kick is up and good. So Minnesota leaving Detroit 17-7.
There it is. Foreman tries to go over the top.
Well, Coach.
Hard to tell. Very difficult
It's
to
easy
tell.
to tell. 17-7 Minnesota.
The financial capital of America. Home to hundreds of investment firms. But whose thinking is sought by corporations and governments? Who is quoted almost every day in America's business press? Yet who always has time to help any investor of any size? You know who. There are lots of investment firms, but there's only one, Merrill Lynch.
You can tell by their style and flair, they're now. And you can tell by the way they're getting there, they're now. The Futura is now.
There's a distinctive personal car for now, the 79 Futura, with tomorrow's look right now, space efficiency for now, high mileage ratings that are now, and a sticker price that says, why wait?
The future isn't someday, it's now.
The Futura is now.
Fairmont Futura, at your Ford dealers.
Now.
14 minutes and 12 seconds left in the game. Minnesota capitalizing on 2 fumbles by Detroit, cast each of them in, and they lead Detroit 17-7. Rick Danmeyer kicking off, deep Jesse Thompson, number 84, and Nat Terry, number 47. Coming up to receive it, Nat Terry on the 12, and he fakes and then gives to Leonard Thompson, and it is Leonard Thompson who carries it to the 25-yard line. So Leonard Thompson on a handoff gets it out to the 25. Well, tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes kicks off television's top Sunday night lineup with more fascinating stories. Then Archie Bunker gets the shock of his life. You'll find out who his bedfellow is. More laughs follow with Alice. And then a fast-moving drama with Kaz and red-hot action on Dallas. Share all the fun and excitement right here tonight on CBS. First and 10. The ball spotted on the Lion 26-yard line. Luther Blue wide right. Freddie Scott wide left. Hill, the tight end, on the right side. The running backs are Bussey and King, and here comes Bussey. He gets out across the 30 and rolls to the 32-yard line. Lynn Bodine leading the way, pulling guard. Detroit trying to recover. They have 13 minutes to do it, and they have to hold on to the football. Their 2 fumbles have just killed them in the second half.
Well, the Vikes have scored 2 out of 3 times they had the ball the second half.
You know, Coach, in this weather, it's not that it's so cold. It's just cold enough to make your hands a little hard.
From the 31-yard line, 2nd and 5 for Gary Danielson. And he'll put it up. It's a screen to Horace King, but he had to reach for it. He lost his balance and fell down at the 27-yard line. So Monty Clark getting his plays, talking to Luther Blue, and now he sends Blue in with what he hopes will be the reason for Detroit to move. They've had just one extensive drive. They went 70 yards at the close of the first half to score.
You know why, Vinny? Oh, sorry, Coach.
Jim, I was going to same pattern as the first half. The Lions haven't moved the ball. The first half, they haven't moved the ball the second half.
3rd and 9 on the Lion 27-yard line. Miller trying to get in, but Danielson getting protection, throws to David Hill. Nate Wright can't bring him down, but he does go down at the last minute as he crosses the 35-yard line.
Danielson's pass complete to David Hill.
Wise had to come over and make the tackle.
All right, Danielson throws a good ball out here. Now, remember, he's thinking of the first down. Hill, who we said is going to be a really good tight end, makes a good catch, but he's also thinking of that first down. And as you look at him, he's going to stretch that ball out. We can't really see it, but he stretches it out. At least he's thinking, and that's really good.
Yeah. A good tackle by Phil Wise, the 8-year man out of Omaha, Nebraska, to prevent the first down. Sammy White goes deep for Tom Skladany's punt. Nate Wright, along with Han up front. And this time Skladany hangs it. Hannon will back off and let it hit. And it takes a lion bounce and rolls just short to the Minnesota 26-yard line. So the Vikes will take over. They have 12 minutes and 52 seconds left to go in the game. The Vikings 17, the Detroit Lions 7.
Zenith announces a breakthrough. System 3. System 3. The best Zenith ever. The best ever. A brand new picture tube for the sharpest Zenith picture ever. Sharpest picture. And an all-new modular chassis. All new. Designed to be the best performing, the most reliable color TV in Zenith history. The most reliable. Zenith. System 3. System 3. It's the best Zenith ever.
As a State Farm agent, when people come into my office and sign an application for insurance, my job is just beginning. There's no sitting back and putting the file away.
Agent Vince Grammarosa talks about State Farm service.
We're continually reviewing their protection. We're continually talking to them. It's on a personal service basis from day to day, month to month. We never forget the people.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Next Sunday on CBS Sports, see NFL doubleheader action. Check local listings for the games and times in your area. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
Well, the first downs are almost the score. 17-6 in downs, 17-7 the score. 1st and 10 Vikings from their own 26, and Chuck Foreman is grabbed by Doug English right at the line of scrimmage, and down he goes. Jim Zorn in Seattle trying to extend the Bears' losing streak. Seattle 21 and Chicago 16 in the third. 12 minutes and 33 seconds left to go. Francis Tarkenton, coming back from a mouth injury at the end of the first half, has capitalized on 2 Detroit fumbles, and the Vikings have turned it around. They trail 7-3 at halftime. They lead 17-7 now in the fourth quarter. Tarkenton rolling right, flipping to Chuck Foreman, and he's going to be hammered immediately. James Hunter was there to wrap him up. Hunter, of course, was the man guilty of the infraction against Ahmad Rashad on the pass in the end zone that set up a 1st and goal for the Vikes. A later report, Seattle has added to its lead, and they're leading the Bears now 28-16 in the third quarter. Seattle, of course, upset the Vikings 29-28.
Let's see what Tarkenton does here now.
3rd and 7 for the Vikings.
3rd and 7 on the Viking 29. He has Sammy White go right, Rashad left, Young on a wing, and Foreman the only running back. Tarkenton with Huff trying to block for him. Finally unloads, and it's picked off by Jimmy Allen. And Allen is going to be lateraling and threw it away. It is picked up by Ahmad Rashad. Would you believe that? Ahmad Rashad was right there to say thank you very much as Detroit blows a great interception by Jimmy Allen.
Well, Tarkenton sprinted out on 3rd down, which is what he likes to do. He threw a bad ball here, no question about it. Threw it right into the defender. Now this is bad judgment, bad mental judgment by Allen.
Trying to lateral to Rhodes.
You got the ball, you got good position. Don't take a chance. That's being too smart.
Coach, in my opinion, that becomes a blunder.
And for Monty Clark, he thought he had seen everything, but he hasn't. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. So 2 fumbles and a busted lateral after an interception, and the Vikings are still in business. Everything has turned sour for Detroit. Sammy Johnson running into Woodcock and company, and down he goes. Jimmy Allen, by the way, is a 5-year veteran out of UCLA, so it is not as if it was just some rookie down there. He had also, that was his 3rd interception.
And he played a lot with Pittsburgh before
Yes.
he came here. Oh, Jim, here's a chance for Detroit, or for the Vikings, to get their running game going against Detroit. They need to keep the clock going, not put that ball up and take chances.
You're right, but it gets right back down to that offensive line and being able to block for the run.
2nd and 9 on the 35. Tarkenton with Brent McClanahan and Sammy Johnson as running backs, and Sammy Johnson will carry the daylight across the 45-yard line. Allen upended him, and he went forward for 1st down. Sammy Johnson.
Well, I think they hurt us down on the field, that offensive line. The hole here is beautiful, good hole, good moves there, and really a good tackle. But that offensive line hurt us that time, George.
That's what they have to do, and that's what they want to do for the rest of the schedule. Get that running game going. They got a great passing game.
1st and 10 on a Viking 46. McClanahan and Johnson are still in there. White is left and Rashad right. And McClanahan will be stacked up and then fall forward for a yard. Here's the NFC Central Division. Green Bay 7-2, so you can see how important it is for Minnesota. 5-4. Tampa Bay, meanwhile, is in Los Angeles. They haven't started yet, but you can see Green Bay is losing, the Bears are losing, and of course in our game Detroit is losing. So Minnesota trying to get a little fat today. 2nd and 8 on the Viking 48. Tarkenton trying to keep things going. Boy, they've been fortunate on some sloppy play by the Lion offense. And there goes Rashad stepping out of bounds at the 35-yard line. He really took Charlie Weaver to the dance. What a great fake on Weaver. Watch this.
All right, we're talking about the fake that Vinny mentioned on Weaver. Rashad does a beautiful job. This is what I talk about when I'm talking about one-on-one. A great receiver or a great back can leave you on the ground if you have him out there that wide one-on-one.
Rashad has always done a fine job on that. You need 2 men out there. 1 man can't make the play on him.
By the way, in honesty in reporting, the fake was on James Hunter, and then the tackle was by Charlie Weaver. So it was James Hunter who was taking the dance, a 3-year man out of Grambling. So my mistake, Jim. Sammy Johnson carrying that one across the 35 to about the 33. Cleveland out in front of Houston 7-0 in the 2nd quarter. Now Brent McClanahan goes out. Rookie Young is back in there to run with Sammy Johnson. 17-7 Vikings. 3 big mistakes by the Lions. 2 fumbles and then a lateral that got away after a Detroit interception. 2nd and 9 from the 33. White left, Rashad right. Tarkenton with only Johnson staying in the block, throws to Ricky Young. O'Neal missed him, Weaver missed him. And finally he is belted by Jimmy Allen shy of the 20-yard line. But both O'Neal and Weaver had a shot. Couldn't get him.
This is a good call by Tarkenton. A check down to Ricky Young. See him coming out. Just a little underneath pass. And a fine move by Ricky Young right here, cutting back. Picking up additional yardage.
Whenever you go down the field, George, turn up the field, you can't go wrong.
That's
you
right.
Always get yardage. When you go sideways too long, you can get in a lot of trouble.
Straight ahead. Go straight ahead.
Chuck Foreman getting a breather as Bud Grants talks to him, and that's the story. The Detroit Lions, you saw O'Neal and Weaver, they are bone weary now with 7:29 left to go. The Vikings just holding on to the ball, and here goes Ricky Young, and he squirts for a couple of yards. Chuck Foreman continues to rest, and you immediately see, in retrospect, Foreman was unable to punch it over once today, barely got it over the second time, and I guess they're waiting to get down close before they use him again.
Well, they got fresh, young, healthy backs there, raring to go. They haven't played a lot. And
And they're leading by 10 with 6:57 left.
And when the weather's a little cold and you have an injury, it is much tougher on you.
2nd and 5 from the 16-yard line of Detroit. And the Minnesota Vikings were moving long before the snap. So that'll be another mistake for the Vikings. And, Coach, what's the biggest reason for it?
Well, you know, when my team didn't play in 9 or 10 days, even though we had good practices, we were a little bit rusty. We made mistakes. And the Vikings have had 10 days off from that Thursday game against Dallas.
There's a kid in there at center, too, for Minnesota, Jim Huff, a rookie out of Utah State, spelling Mick Tingelhoff. They tell us here in Minnesota, Tingelhoff feels that Huff might very well be his successor.
False start, 68.
And Charles Goodrum, the left guard on the side of Jim Huff, was the one who took off along with others. He had company. Pittsburgh has come around to lead New Orleans now 20-14. A 24-yard touchdown pass from Terry Bradshaw to Rocky Bleier. 2nd and 10 from the 21. Tarkinen got underneath English and then fell down as Baker landed on him. Doug English, number 78, tried to lasso him with his left arm. And Tarkinen got underneath that and hit the ground.
Oh, lasso.
Yeah, he's already got some stitches. He doesn't want to take another one.
Been afraid, Benny.
So Fran Tarkinen, 18 years out of Georgia. As we mentioned way back, leading the NFL with a completion percentage of 61%, and today he is 18 for 26.
Now right here, you want to move it closer for a field goal rather than trying to get it all in one lump. Try to get a little bit better range for your field goal kicker.
And that's Dan Meyer standing just off the right shoulder of Bud Grant, so he's thinking right along with you. 3rd and 16 from the 27. And let's see, too much time against Minnesota, so that's another mistake or rustiness, however you want to look at it.
Well, there's always there's always a trade-off, Coach. You know, when they have 9 days off, 9 or 10 days off, you get a little rusty. We must listen to the official. You get a little rusty, but also you get a chance to get your injuries healed. So, you know, it's kind of a trade-off there.
In their case, it helped them from an injury standpoint. They had a lot of injuries.
3rd and 21 from the 32. Tarkinen on a roll, setting up and going deep for Sammy White, and it's intercepted by Mike Burns at the 5-yard line. So Burns comes up with the interception. And for Burns, it would be his first of the year. He's a 2-year man out of USC. So with 5:58 left to go in the game, Minnesota 17, Detroit 7.
We start with good fresh chicken, like we know we should.
11 herbs and spices, make it finger-licking good.
We don't freeze roll or chop it. It's chicken, nothing more.
That's a real good reason why smart folks come here more. It's so nice to feel, so good about a meal, so good about Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Ford introduces new wagon for the American road. The all-new LTD Country Squire for $79. A new wagon with more driver convenience, more handling ease, more window area, and more passenger room than last year's Country Squire.
This land is your land, this land is my land.
The all-new Ford LTD Country Squire for $79. See it at your Ford dealer now.
Hi, I'm Coach Sam Rutigliano of the Cleveland Browns, and I hope you'll do it in the American way on Election Day. Go to the polls Tuesday and vote for the candidate of your choice.
In the 4th quarter, Atlanta 21, San Francisco 3. Meanwhile, the Lions, with 3 turnovers, come up with their 3rd interception, and they have it 1st and 10 on their own 5-yard line. You've had interceptions by O'Neal, Bradley, and Burns. But, of course, for Tarkington and the Vikings, it was a 3rd and 21 from the 32. It's almost as if they called Greg Coleman to kick it out of bounds on the Detroit 5. So the interception doesn't help the Lions at all. 5:37 left to go in the game. 2nd and 9 on the Lions, 7. Dexter Bussey and Horace King, the running back. Danielson throwing over the middle to Dexter Bussey. He's to the 15 and to the 20-yard line. He has picked up the first down for Detroit.
Excellent call there, Benny. He had a throw. There's only a little over 5 minutes to play, and watch this check over. Even if you don't have good protection, you can still get it off. Coming underneath. Fine execution on that play.
Good blocking by his guards, Bodine and Elias. That gave him a little chance to hit Bussey. So it is 1st and 10. The 20-yard line have moved it out from the 5. Kane is now in there, the running back with King. And Kane has released, but Danielson throwing the other way and completes it to Hill, the tight end. And that should be enough for a first down at about the 32-yard line. But the time, 4 minutes and 27 seconds left. Minnesota leading 17-7. And Detroit not only a long way to go, but time running out on them.
That's their first downs of this second half.
Carl Eller comes out, and Mark Mullaney, double sevens, takes over on the left side for Minnesota. 1st and 10 on the Lion 33. Hill is on the left side, and Blue is in a slot right inside Scott. Over the middle, high to Hill, and the big tight end takes it across the 45-yard line for yet another first down.
Jim, Danielson has also improved since the last time we saw him. He's matured. He's taking what the defense gives him. I like what I see on Danielson.
You're absolutely right, Coach. But there's one thing about Detroit that we must make note of. They play very good when they have to, like when there's only a minute, when they're in desperation. They should try to do that throughout the game, not be so conservative, you know what I'm saying? Open up in the middle of the game.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind
Did Frank burn the trout yet?
No, but we're ready.
Okay, you guys, knock it off. I don't believe it. And a little something to go with it.
Lowenbrow.
Lowenbrow. And you guys don't deserve it, but my trout does.
When you want the taste of a truly great beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Well,
Frank, we apologize. The beer's terrific.
We're not exactly alike. I'm wearing JCPenney Plain Pockets jeans, and I'm wearing the world's best-selling jeans. My jeans are made of tough, heavy depth with good looks and great styling. And mine have this fancy stitching on the back pocket. But Plain Pockets only cost you $10. JCPenney Plain Pockets. The big difference between us and them is the pocket and the price. I'll buy lunch.
A tennis star who's into another racket. A preacher with some exotic ideas. A tearful Phyllis George. An earful of Bonnie Franklin and Liza Minnelli. All on People Monday night.
With 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in the game, the Vikings leading the Lions 17-7. Detroit 1st and 10 on the Lion 46. Danielson looking to the left, throwing out to Freddie Scott. And right there is Nate Allen to bring him down. Allen just came in the game for the injured Bobby Bryant, and that would appear to be another first down for Detroit with 3:20 left.
Well, the Vikings are giving them the short stuff. They don't want to give them anything cheap. They've got the game won. Just want to make sure that they don't score quickly and have too much time left.
Detroit started, you remember, on the interception by Mike Burns on their own 5-yard line. They have 3 minutes left in the game. 1st and 10 on the Viking 41. King and Bussey, the running back. Scott is left and Blue right. Danielson getting pressure and is going to be hit by Mark Mullaney and Jim White after Jim Marshall just missed grabbing him and sacking him. Marshall, number 70, had 3 sacks in his last 2 games, and that's as close as he has come to getting a sack today. That'll drop him back to the Lion 49.
That's the way to play defense. Rush with 4 and cover with 7. He wanted to throw sooner, but the man wasn't open. He had to reload, and they got the sack.
2 minutes and 39 seconds left to go. Minnesota leading Detroit 17-7. Danielson for his longest pass of the day. No good. Intended for Jesse Thompson. Nate Wright was there to defend. For Danielson, he's 18 for 28 for 127 yards. Tarkinen 18 for 27, 211 yards.
That's what a sack does, Vinny. It forces you to go for the bomb, to go for the big play rather than being able to get 6 or 7 yards, and that's what the defense wants. The percentages against your defense are in the teens. Percentage of passes complete against you long yards, just 15, 16%.
The two fumbles by Detroit, by Gaines and Hill, just about finished the Lions in the second half. Detroit led 7-3 at halftime. Whoops, that was White. Duck White, they call him up here, and he was jumping all over the place. And now he decides he'll make the most of it, and he gets down on top of Gary Danielson. But it'll be against Minnesota. However, too little too late for Detroit. 2 minutes and 19 seconds left, 17-7 Minnesota. The two fumbles, plus the interception and poor lateral, have taken all the play, any offensive sting out of the Lions, and their defense has just been on the field too long. Although, Coach, certainly you couldn't say that Minnesota has been impressive. Combination of loose handling and a long layoff.
One thing you hate to see your defense do is the officials finish now is commit a foul when they're giving you the football. We always used to say, don't commit a foul when they're giving you the football. Now they give him another shot.
James Duck White, first-round draft choice in '76, and a 3-year man out of Oklahoma State, guilty of the infraction. 3rd and 15. And Sutherland couldn't get him. White chasing him. The throw is bobbled. It got away from Matt Blair. Matt Blair had both hands on it, but couldn't hold on to it. Blair has an interception this year, and again, it could be a case of bored hands.
They'll have to go for 4th and 15 now.
2 minutes and 11 seconds left. 17-7 Minnesota, which comes as no surprise. This series started in 1961. Minnesota has won 21 and 18 of the last 20 meetings. They've also won 4 straight, and they're going to win 5 straight today. Danielson setting up and throwing down the left side to Scott. And whoa, what a lick he took. Hannon came over to hit him. And Hannon, Tom Hannon, a 2-year man out of Michigan State. Oh, wait till you see this hit.
Scott had the ball. It's a good throw and a good catch. Scott actually had it. And then Hannon put the wood to him. Let's watch this.
Hannon is 5'11", 193 pounds. 2 years out of Michigan State. Whammo. And then Hannon went right into the bench. It's a good thing he had his helmet on, because first he put the wood to Scott, and then the wood was put to Hannon, but he's all right.
Now all they have to do is run the clock out. 1st and 10.
Tarkinen is still in there. And Tarkinen giving to Ricky Young. And there goes Ricky Young across the 45 to the 42. And, of course, if you're a Detroit defensive player now, your heart's got to be out of you.
Well,
you come to the 2-minute warning.
Subconsciously, you let down.
Minnesota 17, Detroit 7.
These are 2 of today's newest razors. The one on the right is the new Norelco rechargeable rotary razor. This one has 2 blades and pivots up and down. The new Norelco 36 blades in 3 adjustable floating heads and a new shaving angle. Both give you a close shave. But the new Norelco rechargeable lets you walk away from soap and water. Of course, they do give you one thing Norelco doesn't. Gotcha! The new Norelco rechargeable rotary razor. Still no gotcha.
Announcing a whole new breed of Mustang for '79. The turbocharged Mustang from Ford. With the performance of an optional turbocharged engine that took Mustang from 0 to 50 in an average of 7.1 seconds. Precise handling from sports car features and more. Mustang Turbo in 3-door and 2-door models. Capture one at your Ford dealer now.
2 minutes left to this meeting between Detroit and Minnesota. The Vikings leading 17-7. and the Vikings in possession of the ball. 1st and 10 on the Lion 42, and that Detroit defensive unit has been out on the field all day, and when they needed the break and the breather, they didn't get it. And now Tarkinen has Sammy White on the left side. His running backs are Ricky Young and Sammy Johnson, and it'll be Sammy Johnson going wide and caught from behind by Ed O'Neill and dropped.
Detroit took timeout, Vinny.
So timeout by Detroit. Washington and O'Neill making the tackles with 1 minute and 53 seconds left. Our thanks to the men who have worked so hard to bring this telecast to you, our producer Robert Stenner, to our director Tony Verna, to our statistician Dr. Bob Woods, to associate producer Clarence Anderson, to our engineer in charge Bill Sands, technical director Al Gensch, audio Jerry Shalinsky. We have come down to 1:53 remaining. Coach,
did you hear that big yell? Eagles beat the Packers.
So the Packers lose, the Lions are going to lose, the Bears are losing, and it's a pretty good day for Minnesota.
1 game behind.
Seattle, the last we heard, leading Chicago 28-22. So it looks like Minnesota is going to come out of it, the only club in the NFC in this division to pick up a victory today. 2nd and 11, the ball on the Lion 43. Sammy White is right. Craig is in there along with Tucker, the 2 tight ends. Young and Sammy Johnson, the runners. And it'll be Ricky Young with Sammy Johnson leading the block for him. And Young grabbed by John Woodcock. And then Mike Burns makes the hit, but it was Woodcock who grabbed him at the 35. There you can see on the board Philadelphia 10 and Green Bay 3, the final that elicited this roar from the crowd. And Green Bay's lead has dwindled to 1, and Minnesota right on their heels.
Another timeout, Vinny. Detroit took another timeout.
That's about the only thing Detroit can do as far as they can't control the game. They can control the time only in that respect. 1:45 left, 17-7 Minnesota.
What you try to do here is go for the ball, force a fumble, use your timeouts. You have 1 timeout left. In an effort to stop them in here, you sometimes give them a big play that they shouldn't get. You gamble, you take chances. You go for the ball, you may miss a tackle, and the offense gets extra yardage you normally wouldn't get if you're playing sound basic defense.
Well, Monty Clark saw his club knock off San Diego, then saw them beat the Bears. But now he has seen them thoroughly frustrated, particularly in this second half, with 2 fumbles and then a poor lateral following the interception. Ricky Young has certainly been a workhorse for Minnesota. In 15 carries for 71 yards, Young has also caught 6 passes for 59 yards. So Ricky Young has certainly been a big part, the 4-year man out of Jackson State, of this Minnesota offense. 3rd and 3 for Tarkenton and the Vikes. And it'll be Sammy Johnson. And Johnson got to the 30-yard line.
Big first down.
I tell you who's so tired. He's played a great game. And he had him and just couldn't hold on. John Woodcock, number 77, has been involved on just about every defensive play for Detroit. Woodcock is a 3-year man out of Hawaii in a 3rd-round draft choice 2 years ago. But he's bone weary now, and
yes,
he had Johnson and just let him go.
He's going to be a good one. We tried, when I was with the Redskins, Vinny, we had hoped to be able to draft him, but Detroit drafted him, I believe, in the 3rd round. And he can rush the passer, and he plays the run pretty well.
Yes, he's played defensive end and tackle. John Woodcock, an outstanding performance for Detroit's defensive unit, albeit in a losing cause. Next week, the regional games of the NFL. The Giants, Washington, Tampa Bay, Detroit, Atlanta, New Orleans, Chicago, Minnesota. And the doubleheader games, Dallas versus Green Bay and St. Louis versus San Francisco. Consult your local listings for the games and times in your area. Some cities will only see a single game due to the NFL blackout policy. And, of course, don't forget all the action begins with the NFL Today with Brent Musburger, Jane Kennedy, and Herb Carr.
Detroit used their last timeout, Vinny.
With 1 minute and 36 seconds left, it is 17-7 Minnesota. They have a 1st and 10 on the Lion 30. This ball game is almost history. It's just a question of what the numbers will be. It's 17-7 Minnesota right now. Young and Johnson are the running backs. And here comes Ricky Young. Goodrum lays out a good block on James Hunter. So Goodrum at 256 pounds, blocking down on James Hunter, 195.
Here's where you want to protect the ball, not fumble, not take a loss. No mistakes, just keep that clock running.
And it's totally out of the hands of Monty Clark and just about in the wallet of Bud Grant. Monty a little disgusted. He did see his club take a lead of 7-3. He saw them put on a great goal line stand. He saw them go 70 yards for a touchdown, but all for naught.
They've improved since the last time we saw them.
They certainly have.
Much improved.
2nd and 10 from the 30. Ricky Young trying to find daylight and gets to the 26-yard line. Ricky Young has sure been a workhorse today. 17 carries for 76 yards, and he's picked up 59 yards on 6 passes. Young has thoroughly taken the drama and the headlines away from Chuck Foreman. Foreman, for instance, probably with that sore knee, is still not 100%. Carried 20 times, and he has not been averaging 2 yards a carry, only 35 yards. 15 seconds left. And now they'll just protect Tarkenton. They hold a screen for him, the umbrella, and down he goes. Time is running out. It has just about disappeared. The Minnesota Vikings have now won 19 of the last 21 against Detroit. They have beaten the Lions 5 straight, and they have won 22 of the meetings, losing only 11. Minnesota 17. We'll be back in a moment. Detroit 7.
The Computer Society. It's big news everywhere, and now it's in color TV. Computer Color 330, new from Magnavox. Computer Color 330, the all-electronic color system with 25% more lines of resolution. That means a sharper, crisper color picture than ever before possible. Touch-tune television with Computer Color 330, new from Magnavox.
Americans say inflation is the #1 national problem. Well, it's not surprising. We had serious inflation for years now under both Democratic and Republican presidents. See, inflation is caused by too much government spending. That's why changing presidents doesn't help. You see, Congress is the arm of government responsible for spending, and they've got to be held accountable. Now, there's one thing we haven't tried in more years than you may think: a Republican Congress. This year, give a good hard look at your Republican congressional candidate. It could be your best chance to fight inflation.
And so it's history, this game at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. Minnesota 17, Detroit 7. The story has not completely been filed, however. Down on the sidelines, Jim Brown has Ricky Young and Jim Marshall. So let's go to Jim Brown and to Ricky Young, who had a magnificent day for Minnesota.
Ricky Young, first of all, congratulations for a good game. You did well on the ground, well through the air. Has it been a tough adjustment for you to come to Minnesota where they have an all-around back like Chuck Foreman?
Well, not really, Jim. It's been really good for me because, you know, in San Diego, there was a lot of pressure, you know, on myself. And coming here with Chuck, you know, a lot of the pressure's on Chuck. So, you know, everything's worked out really good for me. You know, as you know and everybody knows, Chuck is an outstanding back, and it's worked out really good for me.
You guys are good friends, have a good working relationship, but you're very similar, you know. That doesn't cause a problem at all, huh?
No, not really. You know, Chuck is a team player as well as myself, and, you know, winning for the Vikings comes first, and then, you know, the stats after that, you know, it's fine.
Well, that's really what I wanted to hear. That whole team value thing is really great because usually you can't have two backs in the same backfield that have the same potential. So, Ricky, congratulations. Hey, and we're very happy that you won today. Now I'm going to talk to your old friend over here, Jim Marshall, and my old friend. Marshall, will you come on over here? Thanks very much, Ricky. What's the guy doing, old partner? It's good to see you.
Old ex-teammates.
It's been about 20 years. I know a lot about you. We played together. You're still playing. You look young. You look great. You're slim. It's really good to see you. Jim, they say you're 42. Is that true?
Now, it couldn't be true now. You were in the league 2 years before I got there, see? And you're supposed to be 42.
Well, that's right. I am 42.
Yeah, well, I'm only 40. I'll be 41 December 30th of this year.
All right. Now the Vikings are moving, Jim. Do you feel that you're going to be able to take it on here and get the championship?
Well, I think the situation that we're in now dictates that we take one game at a time. You know, we're kind of behind now, behind Green Bay, and we've got to win each game as it comes up, and I think that's what we're looking forward to now. And the championship, if it comes, will come, you know.
Well, Jim, I think it's a great outlook. Thank you very much, old captain, old partner, and good luck in the future.
Okay, and good luck to you, buddy.
Then we're going to throw it back to Vince Scully and George Allen upstairs.
Okay, Jim, and our thanks to Jim Marshall and Ricky Young for taking time out to visit with us. Minnesota finally getting over the staleness of a lengthy layoff, still had enough to beat Detroit. We'll be right back.
It's lightweight, it's portable, it's virtually indestructible. You can hammer on it, saw on it, sand on it, paint on it, drive a screw on it, cut a pipe on it, clean a door on it, fix a picture on it, or a wheelbarrow, or a chair, or a bicycle. You can even have your lunch on it. The incredible Black & Decker Workmate. When America has a job to do, it reaches for Black & Decker.
70 calories. That's for me.
That's extra light. Half the calories, all the taste, naturally.
How do you like that beer?
We love it.
That's because naturally brewed Pabst Extra Light has 70 calories, half the calories of our regular beer.
It's a lot less filling, and I get all the taste I want.
Pabst Extra Light. Half the calories, all the taste, naturally.
Don't say light. Say extra light.
Final score, Minnesota 17, Detroit 7. Now for George Allen and Jim Brown, this is Vin Scully wishing you all a very pleasant good afternoon. The NFL Today, a presentation of CBS Sports. Stay tuned as the NFL Today continues after this word from your local station.